I honestly didn't think I'd be sitting here on a Wednesday morning putting together a 5-hour course for you right now. But over the last 2 years of me taking the biggest risk of my life and living abroad for the past 2 years, making money online consistently, it's become very apparent to me that so many people want to do the same but just don't know exactly how. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a several-hour course going over exactly how you can efficiently move abroad whilst building an online income so you never have to go back home to your home country. So many people that I speak to on a daily basis talk to me and say, Ty, I want to learn how to move abroad. Ty, I want to make money online. Ty, I want to quit my job. But they don't know that you being able to go and create an online income is literally the missing piece and the ladder that will get you from point A, staying in your hometown, working a 9-to-5 job that is unfulfilling for you, to point B, living in your dream country, living the life that you want and making money online and not having to worry about having a manager breathing down your neck and telling you how long you have for lunch. I don't care if you're working in construction, a labor job, an office job, a part-time job, whatever it is. If you currently feel unfulfilled in your 9-to-5 and you want to find a way out of living in your hometown and you're in your 20s and you're tired of waking up every day living the same mundane life on repeat, and you see all these other people on social media, all these other people on TikTok, all these other people on YouTube living the life that you want abroad in Bali, Brazil, Thailand, Colombia, Venezuela, wherever it could be. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how you can go from working a 9-to-5 job, stuck working 40 to 60-hour weeks just to get an average wage in the UK or in the US or from a first world country, to being able to consistently make more and more money living abroad, not having to worry about having a manager or a boss breathing down your back whilst you're living in paradise, living in whatever part of the world that you see fit. This strategy and free several-hour course that I'm going to be giving away for you guys today is a part of my exact 4-figure program where I go over in a lot of detail about how all of my clients that I'm currently working with can learn exactly how to quit the 9-to-5 job, book a one-way ticket abroad, and most importantly, build a consistent online income so they never have to go back. The stuff I'm going to be giving you away today for free is some of the exact resources, the exact knowledge, and the exact strategies that several of my clients have used to achieve this result already. People like Joe Hadani, who started off his journey working as a laborer, right, making minimum wage in Bradford, and now is currently in Colombia doing high 4 figures per month just because he mastered one online skill, which is remote sales. Or Jamie Smith, who already took the risk to go and move abroad but was struggling for online income and didn't know what he was doing every single day, watching his bank balance go down and his savings pot run out, until he joined my program and I taught him the fundamentals of learning an online income. And every single day now he's taking sales calls and making money and on track for his first 10K month by the end of the year, out there living with his partner in Phuket, Thailand. Or James Preston Jones, for example, another one of my clients who did the exact same thing, booked a one-way ticket out to Thailand but didn't know how to make money online. Income was running out, so they needed to learn an online high-income skill, which is why they came to myself and joined my program. And just like Jamie, he's now mastered the skill of remote sales, making money online every single day, and again living out in Thailand. Or Enoch, for example. Enoch went from working a remote job at home, stuck in his bedroom all day for a company called Enterprise, to now being able to quit his 9-to-5 job and make upwards of £6,000 per month, and is now booking his one-way ticket to go and explore Africa because he's now mastered the skill of making money online. Or another one of my clients, Ed, for example, who only joined my program a couple months ago, was stuck in a 9-to-5, stuck in a rat race and really wanted a way out, dedicated himself for a few short months. He's just arrived in Bangkok, Thailand, and he's now working on 7 different online offers focusing on remote sales. So he's now quit his 9-to-5 and is now getting his first taste of online and location freedom. Or like another one of my clients, Lewis, who joined my program at the start of the year, and he was only making about £1,500, didn't know anything about sales or anything about content, and now he's pacing 50K months, living his dream life out there in Da Nang, Vietnam. My point being, this stuff that I'm about to teach you inside this video works. Several of my clients have done it and they've used the exact same formula and strategy that I'm going to be giving you away today for free, and it has allowed them to get a massive result that has literally been the biggest lever that they've pulled to go ahead and change their life. I'm going to be covering the psychological reasons why you're feeling so trapped in your 9-to-5 job and how you can actually get out of that. I'm going to be covering the exact framework you need to be able to go and relocate abroad, because so many people think it's just as easy as booking a one-way, but that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. And I'm also going to be giving you a deep insight into the actual online skills that you can go away from this video and implement into your life right now to go and make your first bit of money online, so that you also in the next few months can be out there living abroad as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. So how do you actually relocate your mindset in order to allow you to glitch your reality? So many people think that in the physical, they need to just buy the ticket, and once they arrive abroad, they arrive in Spain, they arrive in Thailand, they arrive in Bali, that they're going to be ready to take on the mindset and the things that actually come from them being able to go relocate. That's completely far. That's so far from the truth, right? You first need to be able to glitch your reality, and you do that by relocating your mindset first, regardless of where your actual place inside your reality. And that's what's going to allow you to then go on and be able to actually successfully move abroad once your mindset has adapted to your new surroundings and your new lifestyle. You are losing more by staying where you are now than you will ever risk by leaving. Do you understand that? Working in your 9-to-5 job, you are risking more now, because I first want to set the scene and make you guys really truly understand that you're giving up more things now by staying stuck up until this point in your 9-to-5 job than you ever would by actually going and taking the risk to go and obtain the lifestyle that you've actually desired and dreamed of having. Do you understand what I'm saying? This episode is not about tactics. It's not about, oh, you need to do this and do this thing and maybe this is gonna work and £1 million gonna drop in your lap, right? What it is about is why a 9-to-5 is actually prison psychologically in your mind, and I'm going to break down why. How your current level of development, right, the actual rate in which you're developing into a new identity is keeping you stuck. How every extra year in the same life is going to continue to erode your income, confidence, and your identity, and why building an online income plus relocating is the safest option in a world of digital IDs, in a world of ever ongoing taxes in the UK or in the States, in a world of all this political climate, in a world of all this stuff that's going out in your exterior world. You need to become self-sufficient and independent. And in the modern day, you only do that by taking advantage of location, geographical arbitrage, and by creating an online income so you're able to be independent and live and move wherever you see fit, rather than being held down by force to one specific location and your income tied to you being in one room or one office or one site. Your 9-to-5 is a program, not just a job. And it is the exact same script that you're running every single day. A typical day for you looks like you waking up to an alarm that you hate, which already sets you off on the wrong paradigm in the morning and off to the bad frequency, because you've got your alarm set. And in your mind, you subconsciously know that whenever this alarm goes off, it signifies that I have to go into work, I have to go into my job. So you're already starting your day from a negative standpoint, right? You have a morning that you do not control. You're chasing the mornings rather than owning your mornings, right? The reason why I'm talking about this specifically is because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you have a bad morning routine, you're gonna have a bad day. If you have a bad morning, you're gonna have a bad afternoon, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything, and congruence is the key, right, to a consistently progressive life. Congruence is the key to a consistently progressive life. You commute through places you dislike, you numb things out with food, social media, Netflix, you repeat your same mundane, boring day, right, for about 80% of your week, and that is just your life. What this actually trains, you going into an office you don't choose, doing tasks and orders from people you don't actually respect and like, right, and commuting through places that you also equally dislike. The only thing that this trains is your obedience. So how good of a worker or employee are you? Your cope mechanisms. How much can I actually take? Just how resilient can I be until it's actually just enough is enough? And when it is enough, what are you gonna do? Book a 4-day holiday and have a lad's holiday in Mallorca. And it teaches you how to wait and put your personal goals on pause for the primary goals that you've allowed to take bigger significance over your own life. Why is it that this new work project that is taking over your life and has a bigger significance on your life and your journey rather than the things that you actually innately want to do, right? That makes you feel fulfilled as a human being. This will kill. Working this type of lifestyle and or environment kills your curiosity. You can't be curious working a dead-end job that's taking up all of your mental space and energy every single day. Kills your ambition, kills your creativity, kills your sense of risk-taking, because you've been programmed to be an obedient individual. Whether you like it or not, whether you get along with your manager or not, you've been programmed to be this obedient individual. You get asked to come in on a certain day, you're not coming in a minute or two later than that. Right? You know that you have to be doing a certain thing, a certain program, and living on a certain frequency, whether you're conscious or subconsciously aware of that fact. And your sense of possibility and risk taking is always going to go down the drain, because if you're always going to be repeating the same mundane task every single day, that becomes your norm. So a synonym for that really is what I'm saying is that becomes your cage, is the stuff that you've actually accepted, because what you accept is what you allow. Your nervous system starts to believe that this is who I am. I am just employee Ty who works a customer service job. I am just this person who sits on the third floor on row B12. I am just this person who 4 days a week, after work goes out for work drinks with my man. I'm the same person who 4 days a week, right, has to be in the office in Regent's Park in London, for example. I am this person, right? That's how you're programming your mind and yourself, your inner system to be. And change will then feel impossible, right? Because the current script you're living your life on is so well rehearsed. You understand that so many people are just blind to the fact that you're not really living your life. You're living the life that has been assigned to you from the programming from your parents, programming from your school, programming from your university, and better than that, programming from your manager and your job that you get reinstilled into every single day to keep you doing your Monday 9 to 5 job. So what I've broken down is a system, right, that I've been working on for a good few months, and I've done a lot of research to actually get my head around this as well, so I can better pass the knowledge on to you guys. There's 3 levels to a human being. I want you to make notes on this genuinely. There are 3 levels to a human being. Human 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. And what I've done is I've specified this to the actual situation and journey that you're going to go on, considering that you want to build an online income, considering that you want to have control over your life, and considering that the final goal for you is to go and live and move abroad. You have the 3 different modes, which is human 1.0, which is a conformist, human 2.0, which is the individualist, and human 3.0, which is the synthesist, right? You're moving between them, but there's going to be one level, one specific archetype that is your main default, which you kind of just go by. Traits of human 1.0, right? Someone who trusts authority more than they trust themselves. How many people in your environment, think of your work group, your friendship group, your family, how many people do you know who generally, they trust the police like the back of the hand that's going to solve all their problems? They trust their manager, they trust the system, right? More than they actually trust their own level of independence, and they just do things blindly because that is the thing that we're supposed to do, rather than actually taking the time to think and stop and ask themselves, what do they want to do? That type of person who lives in human 1.0 wants safety way more than they want growth. They want to be comfortable. They want to know that they've got a monthly income coming in every single month. For that type of person to go and think about quitting their job, building an online income, and moving abroad, that's too much risk involved. That is too much risk. So I'd rather take the safe option, which is just living life on default, right? Human 1.0 is the type of person who avoids risk and uncertainty. I don't want to go and move abroad because it's too risky and I might not work. I don't want to go and quit my job. I'm not really happy, but it's too risky, and what if I don't get the new job? I don't want to go and leave my job because what if my manager doesn't like me anymore? What if I lose some of my friends? What if my mom disagrees with me, right? And this exact belief system, let me even tell you something now. The only beliefs in your life that are true are the ones that you believe to be true. You do not hold beliefs, beliefs hold you. For me to sit down now and believe that there's more to life than a 9 to 5 is a belief that is holding me, right? I've allowed this belief to come into my brain and kind of take control of me, right? Your beliefs control you. So if you have certain beliefs that align with those of human 1.0, you need to ask yourself, why have I allowed these specific types of beliefs to control my life? Because as human beings, we're all dictated by what we deem to be true. Why do you think there's conflict between religion? Why do you think there's conflict between politics? Why do you think there's conflict between countries and wars that happen? Because we all have different sets of belief, and you just have a better level of conviction in a different belief or paradigm compared to what I have in my own belief and or paradigm. That's all that is. We live in a world based around our beliefs and what we deem to be true. To believe in something is to be living in something. You have to be living in a certain paradigm in order for you to have a certain level of conviction over the thing that you deem to be true over your life. Human 1.0 sees life as work, bills, mortgage, and retirement. They look at the traditional life. Deep down, they know that it's not what they want to be doing. Let me give you an example of a guy called Ty. Ty's 25 or 26 years old. He works in real estate, right, or as an estate agent in the UK, and he makes 1.7k a month. For the past 3 years, Ty's been wanting for so much time to go and move abroad, been wanting to go and build an online income, but never been consistent because his biggest problem is that he's just skeptical, right? And he believes that every single thing out there, every single online income stream is a scam and that he can do it on his own. But that exact same belief system is the reason why he's 25 years old making below the average wage in the UK. Right? That is the exact reason why he's never been able to go and build an online income and quit his job. He's paying £750 to £900 in rent, for example, and he's never been able to go and change his life. That is because Ty, this paradigm, this version, right, lives as a human 1.0 conformist. Everything else is, oh, it's too skeptical, it's a scam. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, I don't need help, I can do it on my own. But he's been trying for the past 5 to 6 years and not seen any results. right? Started something and stopped it and not committed because he thinks that he doesn't need help. And he thinks that everything outside of him, everything online is a scam and it's not real, right? So for that reason, he stays stuck making £1,700 a month living in the UK as someone in his mid-20s who's got rent to pay and really and truly hates his job. The behaviors of Ty: stays in a city that no longer fits. How many people do you know? Let's go back to this Ty example. Ty is someone who lives in Manchester, right? Lives in Bradford, wherever it could be, right? He's staying in an environment that doesn't actually fit his desired reality. In his head, his goals, if you ask him, he would say, yeah, my goals are to be making a couple grand a month and living out in Bali. But every time he wakes up and looks left and right, all he's seeing is the streets of Manchester. He's seen the streets of Bradford, he's seen the streets of London, because he's choosing by choice to stay in a city and in an environment that no longer benefits him in getting and achieving his desired reality. Ty wants to keep a job that drains him, right? He'd rather stay working his job as an estate agent, making below the average wage in the UK, because it's comfortable, he's got guaranteed income, and in his mind, oh, I've got rent to pay, I need to stay in this job. Right? That is literally the epitome of someone who's living on human 1.0. Ty talks about moving abroad with his friends. Ty talks about getting into online income. Ty talks about all the things that he wants to do with his friends, but after several months, which turn into years, he doesn't actually take action because he never really puts it on the line, because he doesn't share the same mental traits and belief system as human 2.0 or that of human 3.0. So him staying and choosing to stay stuck as human 1.0 literally means, right, that he's always going to be stuck in this specific paradigm based on the belief systems that he's taken onto his life. Treats travel as a reward at the end of his life. How many people do you know who are just like Ty, who their default mode being human 1.0 is to always go back into work and just put in more shifts and try and make more money? But they're also the same person who's always talking about escaping the UK and moving abroad. Or they're always the same person who talks about going on these holidays. They're always looking for a 3-day deal on Skyscanner or a Google Flights or a Jet2 holiday package that they can go and live it up and escape from their current reality, right? Because they see traveling as a reward that they only get at the end of life after a certain amount of hard work has been elapsed. But they don't understand that with the right systems, with the right skills, travel becomes the default. Travel becomes the new norm. People who live in the mind frame of human 1.0, in short, are wired for comfort. No matter how many excuses they give, how much desire that they seem to have, and how much they really want to improve their life, their brain is always going to be wired for comfort. And that's the exact reason why they don't achieve the biggest things that they always talk about and that they go after in aid of achieving inside of their life. Human 1.0, being on the paradigm and frequency of human 1.0 is a very dangerous place to be in your life. Then you have human 2.0. Now, human 2.0 is the individualist, right? It is the freedom fighter, whatever you want to call it. Because this is the person who is actually so perspicacious to actually understand that life as they know it is rigged, that this stuff is all a game. We live in a matrix. They understand that this life that we live in is literally just a game, and I can go and design my game and build my character, aka myself, in whatever way that I choose and see fit. Human 2.0 wants money, they want status, and they want freedom. So they're adamantly trying to actually improve, right, and get as much free knowledge from watching content, watching business content, self-improvement content, to try and self-actualize. In short, human 2.0 is the person who is trying to self-actualize but hasn't yet done it. The person who's trying to actually move abroad, looking at flights, looking at how much their income needs to be in order for them to go and move abroad, and actually starting to take steps towards getting to their desired reality, right? This is the person who is starting to self-actualize and recalibrate to align on a higher frequency, which they understand that they have always been wanting to be on. And now they're actually putting in the work to raise their frequency and change their reality in order for them to get there. The things that trap these people is because they consume more than they execute. The thing that ultimately holds people who live in human 2.0 back is the simple fact that these type of people undertake paralysis by analysis. Right? These are the type of people who are watching so much and consuming so much business content. They're watching Alex Hormozy, they're watching myself, they're watching all these different people, right? That they're never actually able to go and put the stuff that they've learned into action. These are the people who get mental dopamine, right? Mental masturbation, because they're saying to themselves, yeah, I've now invested in myself. Yeah, I've now taken a step. Yeah, I've got this new course. And they get so excited in the learning stage that they never actually understand that the action and doing stage is going to be way more of a higher ROI compared to the latter. They don't want to be seen as a beginner, but they also want to make it seem that their life is perfect and like they have everything under control, when that couldn't be further from the truth. Someone who is living life on Human 2.0 is somebody who has realized that they need to actually self-actualize. They've had that epiphany where they need to self-actualize their life and improve their life. However, all this person has done, Human 2.0, is taken on an immense level of ambition without actually shifting their identity or changing their beliefs. So therefore, their reality also does not change. It's like the person you hear someone who's working off motivation and the other person who's working off discipline, who's going to get further, right? Human 2.0 is the person who gets burnt out by all of the efforts, inputs, and motivation they're doing without understanding that the game is dictated by the discipline, that they need to have an identity shift. And most importantly, they need to go and actually start to action and implement the stuff that they're learning, right, in order to actually change their beliefs and reality. Human 3.0 is one of the highest levels out of the three because they're a synthesis. Someone who is living in Human 3.0 is developing their mind, body, and spirit all together all at once, right? These people are building inner stability first and then external freedom. These are the people who are no longer trying to focus on controlling their reality because they understand that their reality will change based upon their internal state of self and their internal state of mind. These are people who are now understanding that they are in control and that they have the power, right? Because so many people, so the lower levels, Human 1.0 and Human 2.0, these are people who are frantically trying to change their external reality, right? AKA they're trying to change a result with a result. When what Human 3.0 doing, and the reason why they've been labeled as a synthesist is because they've been able to synthesize their external and their internal world into one, which is really dictated by the nucleus which they have inside of their brain. So what I'm really trying to say here is that Human 3.0 is someone who understands that in order for me to change my reality externally, I need to synthesize my efforts and put it back and reflect it back internally to get control of my mind. Because if I get control of my mind and control of how I think, that is then going to allow me to take control over all of the actions that I will undertake, which has the biggest ROI over my current reality as I see fit. Human 3.0 is not someone who's trying to change their external reality. They're not thinking, oh my God, let me go and buy a new pair of trainers, or let me just go and quit my job or tell my manager that I don't like. They're trying to change their internal state of mind first, because then that will go and allow these people to go and actually vibrate internally on the same frequency in which they'll be able to go and obtain the desired stuff in their external reality. So the synthesis, Human 3.0, designs personal systems rather than just obeying systems from other people. They've got their own rule of discipline. They've got their own rule book and book of rules and things and way of navigating their life, right? Compared to Human 2.0 or that of Human 1.0, who puts that level of self-discipline onto the hands of somebody else to discipline them, to give them rules, to tell them what to do, them when to wake up and then when to come, and then them when to come into work. Human 3.0 sees location, income, and identity as one strategy, which is all dictated by the level of belief they have over their mind. It sounds like Human 3.0 is just this mystical, magical character who's just meditating every day, but it's not really like that. What Human 3.0 is someone who understands that they are in control of whatever reality they see fit and they desire. But it all stems from up here. It all stems from your level of self, your sense of self, your sense of self-belief, and how much conviction you have, and what reality you step into every single day when you open your eyes and you walk. The result of Human 3.0 is someone who's able to go and build out a consistent level of online income around £3,000 to £10,000 per month, because they're already vibrating on the frequency of someone who's already making that type of money. Someone who lives in Human 1.0 or has the mind frame of someone living in Human 1.0 is always going to think that any amount of money that is more than what they can make in a 9-to-5 job is too much money. Because they've been programmed to think that the amount of money that they make right now, so if this person's making £500 on a site, right, as a laborer every single week, so that's £2,000 a month. If I was to go and sit down with this person and tell them that they can make £6,500 in 1 month, like Enoch, from wherever, from their laptop and their phone, they would feel insecure immediately. They would think that it's not real. They would think that it's a scam. That's because they've attached this low-level number that their manager has given onto them, and they've looked at that number and internalized and think that that is a direct representation of their own self-worth. They can't see themselves making more than the average salary. They can't see Ty can't see himself making more than £1,700 a month, because that's a number that his manager's given to him. And when he gets a promotion, and he only gets a promotion of what, £150 when it evens out every month, and he's now went from 1,700 to 1.9K a month, he looks at his trajectory in his life and he reflects and looks at his own mirror and think, yeah, that makes sense. That's what I believe that I'm worthy and deserving of earning. Compared to the synthesis, Human 3.0 knows that money is below him and knows that no matter the numerical number, even though it's always going to be progressing and gradually going up, all of this numerical stuff here and my monetary status is below me. If I make 5 grand, it's still below me. If I make £25,000 in 1 month, it is still below me. And that's when you're really gonna be free and have control over the life that you want. So a synthesis, Human 3.0 is someone who is adamantly skill stacking because they understand that their income is dependent as well as the level of frequency and mindset they have, but also on the actual skills, unique skills, high income skills that they have been able to acquire. Skill stacking, such as sales, remote sales, content, personal branding, offer creation, all of these skills individually, even if they've learnt them in silos, can be directly responsible for 3 to 10xing the amount of income that that person was making from their previous 9-to-5 job. And obviously those skills again will compound to make that person even more money. And it's not even about the money, it's about the skills. And the reason why this person, aka Human 3.0, is went to go and learn those skills is because of the actual identity framing that they put themselves under and shifting their beliefs to understand that they need to go and learn these skills. But that money, like I said, is below them. So what is the real price, right, of you choosing to stay inside of your 9-to-5? The real price of you staying inside of your 9-to-5 job, let's break it down into different type of quadrants, right? You have a financial cost, and most people are actually so unaware of this, right? A standard 9-to-5 caps your income, right? If you're working, I don't care if you're working full-time in a barbershop, your income is capped. I don't care if you're working as a design engineer, your income is capped. Anything that you do in a 9-to-5 job, as long as your full-time hours are tied to one location, you can only make money in one specific unique way, your income is capped. Ties money directly to time, which you already know. It limits you to a local market, right? Keeps most people around 2,000 to 3,000 per month. The average salary in the UK is 32,000 GBP per year, which after tax, you're only probably taking home about 25,500 of that, which really equates to what? Just over 2 grand, £2,112 a month. Is that really all that you're able and capable of achieving in your youngest and most energetically full years of your life? £2,000 per month. So why online income? It's not like I'm just saying that everybody should go into online income because, oh, there's a wave of redundancies. It's not even anything similar to that. The real reason why people need to get into the online space is because you're allowing yourself to learn and acquire skills that will help you sell to a global market. Imagine being able to live like me, not even me, like my clients right now, right? I've got a client called Edward. Edward has literally just arrived into Thailand, right? He's now making money in USD because he's working on an online high ticket sales role, making money in GBP every single day being in this high ticket sales role, and he's spending money locally in Thai baht. Imagine how much of geographical arbitrage Edward is now able to take advantage of simply because he is now exposed to a global market and he's able to earn in a stronger currency and go and actually engage in an economy of a weaker currency. Building an online income allows you to detach your income from a location. Imagine being able to just simply bring your notebook and your laptop and know that wherever you go, you're able to go and make money. You've got phone and a Wi-Fi, you're able to go and make money. That is literally what comes from being able to go and build an online income. By staying in a normal job, and what I mean a normal job is a 9-to-5 job that you watching this are most likely working right now. You are losing years of skills that are compounding, right? Freedom and competency over your life. Years of income growth, years of online proof of work, years of connections with people living the life that you say and claim to your friends that you actually want to go and live. You are not just losing money. You are losing multipliers. You are literally using the multiplied compound of being in a good network, having a good relationship with your friends, improving your relationship with money, being on a self-improvement journey. All of these are multipliers that you only get access to when you either move abroad or when you go and build an online income. Now, what is the psychological cost? Every extra year in a life you have outgrown. So if you're someone who's been saying to yourself you wanted to quit your 9-to-5 job 3 years ago, but 3.5 years later, you're still there in the exact same position. Your belief in your ability to change goes down because you've been stuck by choice into an old paradigm which doesn't fit into the version of reality which you see yourself living. You have a certain belief in your ability. I'm capable of making money online. I'm capable of booking a one-way ticket and move abroad. I'm capable of doing all of these things. Your fear of change is going to go up because you're spending all of this time staying stuck in an old paradigm, old program, right? Of course, it's going to feel like extra resistance every single day you allow it to go past until you really make a qualified effort, right, to actually change and improve your life. Most people think, maybe I'm too late. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe other people are luckier than I am. Maybe this is me just being good enough. This is not maturity. This is literally you giving up. Your system, your programming, your mind, the only thing that it receives, your subconscious mind, the only thing that it's able to download is every time I feel the urge to grow, I suppress it and I don't do anything. Have you actually thought about what that actually does to your mind? You're the same person saying you want to go and move abroad, same person saying you want to quit your job, same person saying that you want to go and build an online income, but you never go and do it. So you have all of these thoughts that you don't actually action. So your brain, in your conscious and subconscious mind, you are not even congruent because you don't even listen to the words you say to yourself. Why is anyone else expected to listen to you? Your brain is picking up on all of this low level and low frequency energy you're surrounding yourself with it. No wonder ambition for you feels childish, right? And playing safe feels like the only logical option for you to do. And that is the literal psychological cost of what is happening to you and your brain right now, the longer you abstain and resist from taking the urge to improve your life and go and make an online income. And need I have to actually sit down with you guys and explain. Money gets printed every single day. Time does not, right? You do realize what you're really going for in life. You're not building an online income really and truly to increase your income because you could try and get a promotion, for example, in your 9-to-5 job. The reason you're looking to go and build an online income is because your time is scarce. You will not get back your mid-20s to say that you've been making 10K a month and traveling in Southeast Asia. You're never going to get that experience again. The chance to live in 3 to 5 different countries, the chance to take advantage of this digital gold rush that we're in, where it is so easily accessible for you to apply yourself for 3 to 6 months, build an online skill, make money online, and just like that, that's the only qualification you need to have complete autonomy over your life, and most people won't even do that. Most people will not even commit 6 months. There is a greater cost of inaction on your life than anything else. That is the biggest lever and reason why every single person in my network has taken massive action. It's because they understand, I will make money doing whatever. Cool, I'm not making the money that I want in my 9-to-5 job. I want to get into high ticket sales to increase my income. I want to get into personal branding and building my own offer to increase my income and make more money. Understandable. But really and truly, what they're really saying is that they realize they do not have time. Why do you think and feel that you have so much time in your life? You don't. So how does real change actually happen? So let's have a look at it. Real change actually happens through a pattern of transformation. Dissonance is the first pattern interrupt. When you start to think to yourself, I cannot do this anymore. Uncertainty, I do not know what to do instead. So you have an urge to go and do something, improve your life, get new and different results, but you don't know what route or path to take. There's drop shipping, e-commerce, all this other type of stuff, Shopify stores, trading, right? You don't know what to actually take. Discovery. The discovery phase and transitionary stage of your life happens when you understand that this is the new identity and path that I need to go down. Oh, wow. I'm going to devote myself to high ticket sales. I'm going to become a killer closer. I'm going to go and build a personal brand. I'm going to have an audience of 38,000. Most people bounce between stage 1 and stage 2 and then go straight back to comfort. Those people have the actual dissonance, the pattern interrupt to say, I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want to work my 9-to-5 job anymore. Then the next thought immediately, the second thought, is I don't know what to do. What should I start? Should I go on YouTube? Oh my God, let me go watch an Iman Gadzhi video. And they never actually are able to attach themselves to that new identity and path that they want to go on, which means that the results are always short-lived. They never get the full thing. They never achieve the goal. They never build their online income. They never quit their job. They never move abroad. So what is dissonance? Signs of dissonance would be if you're questioning if this is your future for the next decades. How many times, right, have you sat there on a Thursday night waiting for Friday to come, thinking about your life and thinking, is this actually like all that I've been set out to do? How many times have you had a Sunday night come and you're dreading going into work the next following Monday morning? How many times have you went to bed and dreaded hearing the sound of that annoying alarm waking you up? Because you know as soon as that specific alarm which you know what that means when that goes off at 6:38 in the morning, for example. That only signifies one thing. I've got to go into work and I've got to go and listen to a Karen for 9 hours straight. And I have to sit in one chair and I can't swear and I have to wear this type of clothes, right? That's dissonance. Dissonance is a signal that your current life is no longer a match with your desired reality and outcome of how you desire your new reality to be. Most people silence their dissonance with distraction. Most people just try and block out the noise and go and smoke weed. Block out the noise and try and tell themselves it's all right. Block out the noise and think to themselves, oh, I'm doing all right. Like I gave you the example of Ty, right? The 25-year-old estate agent, 25, in fucking denial about his life. Dissonance. That's literally dissonance, bro. Then you've got the next stage, which is uncertainty. After you admit the current path is wrong, you hit uncertainty because you now start to worry about money. Oh, I don't know how much money I have to be able to go and save for a house and get a mortgage at 28, as well as take a risk and get into online sales. What if it doesn't work? I've seen a lot of these things are scams online because of maybe this online stuff is not real. Fear of failure. Maybe it's not going to work for me. Maybe I'm not the type of person who's going to go and make it work. Fear of judgment from friends and family, because I will tell you now, as someone who has done all of the things that I'm telling you to do inside this episode, embarrassment is the cost of success. Are you willing to pay it? Embarrassment is the true cost of success. Are you willing to go and pay it? When you're that guy on the only guy on the site doing a labor job who's now talking about growth and listening to podcasts on his lunch break and not going to the pub after because he wants to go and actually study high ticket sales, or he wants to stop smoking weed and drinking alcohol, or he's just started getting back into the gym. All your friends are going to embarrass you. They're going to make you feel bad, like you're the odd sheep, you're the black sheep and you're the odd one out. And that's because you're on a positive paradigm and rapidly trying to increase your life because you're the only one who's aware and their eyes are actually open to what they've just accepted as a normal life. Fear of going broke and ending up broke abroad. Uncertainty is not a red flag. Uncertainty is proof you are at the edge of a new level. You cannot stay certain and familiar and still become a different person. You do realize that. There is no alternate universe where you're going to be going drastically towards your goal and improving your life, and you're not going to feel embarrassed, and you're not going to feel uncertain, and you're not going to have a little bit of anxiety, and you're not going to be cast astray from your loved ones and family. Why are you even accepting for you to have some sort of equilibrium? Life doesn't work like that. Then you have the discovery phase, which comes next. Discovery phase starts when you actually start to take action. You go and say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to go and learn. I don't have that much time to learn. I'm just going to go and get all the answers from someone. I'm going to go and learn, get a mentor. I want to learn online skills. I'm going to go and move towards a remote sales or a closing offer. I'm going to start posting content. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go and start documenting my journey. I'm going to start doing role plays every day and start posting content every single day consistently. I'm going to go and change my routine. I'm going to go and wake up earlier. That is the discovery phase, because you're taking the first baby steps into the new paradigm, into the new state of consciousness, which is directly responsible for getting you the results in your reality. You're doing the inputs. You start to begin to see that you can sell. You begin to see that you can book in calls. You can attract clients. You can picture living abroad for 6 to 12 months with income actually behind you, because your identity starts to catch up towards your behavior. You stop being the person who wants to move and become the person who built the vehicle in order to move. Rather than you screaming and yelling and being discontent with your job and saying how you want to quit and do something else, you're not complaining, you're just doing more action. You're learning online skills, which is directly responsible for you being able to go and quit your 9-to-5 job. 4 quadrants that you must align. Let me walk you through these 4 quadrants and tell you the importance of every single one. Trying to change only one area, such as money or location, fails. As someone who's lived abroad for the past 2 years, I've got several clients behind my belt who I've literally helped make money online, scale to high 4 figures, and in some cases 5 figures, literally to be able to go and move abroad and live life on their own terms. I'm telling you, trying to change only one area, such as your location, let me just move to Thailand, or let me just move to Bali, or solve my problems, or let me just try and make more money. That is not going to work. You must work across 4 quadrants equally: mind, body, spirit, vocation. Why is it all of the people that you see who are making more money than you are in better shape than you? Why is it all the people that you see have a better relationship with God, a better direction with their universe, right? A better understanding of spirituality and how the world works? They're in one, they're at a state of peace with their vocation and where they actually want to be in life. Right? Mind is beliefs about what is possible for you, your self-image. Do you even believe that you're the person worthy enough of making £7,000 per month? Do you even believe that you're the person worthy enough of making 5 figures a month? comparing to your whole family members who've been capped their income at 2 grand a month, and you're going to make that in a day? Do you even look at your self-image in the mirror and think you're the person worthy of doing those things? Because the matter is, if the answer is not a sharp yes, it is a no. And if it is a no, you're never going to achieve it. These 4 quadrants, mind, body, spirit, and vocation, are the direct representatives responsible for whether, not even whether, how long it takes you to get to your desired reality. Because if you get into a high ticket sales role, you build a personal brand and launch your own offer, right? You're selling high ticket now, 3K, well done, right? If you're doing all of that, but you still don't even believe that you're worthy of making 4 figures in a day, 5 figures in a day, 6 figures in a year in business or in online income, it's never going to happen. You can't change an effect with an effect. You can't change your reality by just doing more action. You have to think and see yourself in a certain way. I say this to all of the boys, all of the people inside my network. It sounds like some wishy-washy mindset stuff, but this is literally the direct components that is way more valuable than any sales framework, than any content strategy. You cannot relocate with the identity of a fragile employee. Building an online income while believing you only have value inside a company. And that's something we all face when transitioning from a 9-to-5 employee to being an independent entrepreneur. It's starting to readjust and recalibrate your sense of self-worth. You've been so used to attaching your self-worth to how much money your manager pays you, to how many good performance or progress reviews you get once every quarter. But you need to start attaching your value to what inputs am I doing and to what extent am I really the man or woman that I've said I actually want to go and become. Body controls energy, stress tolerance, and capacity to work and think clearly. If you are not able to go and lock in with your body and become and be in the best shape of your life as possible, you will never get to where you want to be in your life. Body is the physical manifestation of the strength that you have inside your mind. A sharp body doesn't just signify a sharp body. A sharp body signifies a strong mind. These are the certain types of pillars and things you need to adapt and become and evolve into should you desire to reach your goal. It's not even about income. Because I guarantee the version of you who's making 4x the amount of money online and living abroad compared to what you're doing now doesn't have the exact same body shape you have right now. That person's in better shape. That person's cut out alcohol. That person's cut out junk food. That person is a different person, which is the reason why he is able to have that amount of energy to put in towards his goals, because he's congruent. If you cannot control your morning, you will never be able to control your income. Focus on simple routines that protect sleep, movement, and functional workspace. It sounds basic as shit, but it's true. And that is probably these are probably one of the biggest levers that will be directly responsible for making you more money. Let me tell you about the savings trap before we wrap up. Savings is a trap. I must first build a big savings cushion before I can move or start online. The problem with that is, more savings without skill only delays the same problem. If you cannot make money online now, extra savings do not fix that. You can have £30,000 in the bank. You can have a yearly salary saved away in an ISA giving you what, 5.3% annual returns, right? But that's still not gonna save you because that's literally just a ticking time bomb. Whether that savings runs out in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2, 3, or 5, it's still going to run out. Change your paradigm, especially if you want to get into the online space and especially if you want to go and be able to relocate and move abroad. Change that paradigm from I need to have savings to I need to have active income coming every single month online. Who's a better person? Who's hitting their goals more? Person A, who's making 1K a month online and has 10 grand in savings, or person B, who's making 10 grand a month online and has 1K a month in savings? We all know the answer is person B. Your savings do not matter, right? Stop thinking from a lack of mentality. Are investments important? Obviously they are. Am I a financial advisor? Obviously I'm not. But what I'm saying to you, specifically in this chapter of your life, your biggest goal is being able to go and move abroad and build an online income. You shouldn't even factor in the savings that you have. It's useless. Savings run out. Learn skills that allow you to actually bring value into the world and into the market online, which means that in exchange you can be able to gain and make an online income every single month. That is the only thing that you should be focusing on. Risk tolerance drops as comfort grows. Bigger lifestyle and more obligations means less risk taking. So what I'm really trying to say, if you boil it down, is that the longer you wait to jump and get into the online space and build an online income and get onto your first closing role and get into that sales role and build that personal brand and launch your own offer and quit your job and go and, move abroad, right? The more excuses you're creating for yourself. You do realize that. So I just want you, the biggest takeaway I want you to know from this specific module I'm going over, guys, you have to be informed. If you are choosing to stay stuck in your 9-to-5 job, you do know you're consciously choosing that. I don't care what job you work, how much money you make, what your personal life looks like. I don't give a fuck. Generally, I do not give a fuck. What I'm telling you for a fact is that if you are not adamantly following the steps I've given you here in over the course of this module, this episode, right? And you're not adamantly trying to get out of your 9-to-5 job, you're choosing to stay in that 9-to-5 job. No one feels sorry for you. No one's coming to save you. No one's giving you a handout. It's not anyone else's fault. It's your fault. It is more important to become someone who can create money on demand online than to chase a magic number in the bank. The core takeaways I wanted you guys to have in this episode, right, is that your current life is training you to stay the same. We have 3 modes: human 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Conformity, ambitious but stuck, and integrated and free. Where do you want to be? A standard job costs you money, confidence, identity, and your best years. You cannot outrun your environment. Mind, body, spirit, and vocation must be aligned. Online income plus relocation is the modern path to full stack growth and independence. It's not about posting up in a beach club in Bali. It's about having independence and autonomy over your life. Do you understand that? And that comes from being able to have certain skill sets that you can provide to the market where you can get paid and take advantage of geographical location arbitrage. That's what it is about. It is not about posting up saying that you've had your first 10K month and you're living in Thailand or Koh Samui. No one cares. It's about having autonomy over your life, being in control. I'll see you in the next one. Brilliant episode. Let's get it, guys. Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. By the end of this video, you will know the exact mindset you need to have if you are seriously thinking about moving abroad in the next year, in 2026. At the time of me making this video, I'm here, literally chilling at a beach club right here in Da Nang, Vietnam. I have been living abroad now for just under 2 years, so about 20 months to be exact. This year alone, I've visited 7 different countries and I have lived, not just visited, but actually lived in 3 different continents. So I'm gonna be going over my A to Z mindset hack to always make sure that you have a sharp mindset to actually make it abroad. Moving abroad is not easy, bro. Genuinely, it's not easy, right? If you don't have the right mindset, you're not gonna know what to do and you're gonna fail living abroad. Let's get into it. I'll be all the way honest with you, right? And I'll say first, straight up, right? Like me living abroad and being so far from home and my family and my friends, it's very difficult. Like, do you actually understand what kind of chapter of your life you're trying to step into by you moving abroad? I feel like because it's kind of a buzz now when everyone seems to be in Bali, everyone seems to be in Southeast Asia, everyone's, you know, posted up in Colombia, everybody thinks that it's just a walk in the park. And to be honest with you, for some people it can be. But for people like myself who are very cautious about how I like to live my life, and I always understand that in order for me to go and choose a certain thing or a certain route, there's always something else that I'm gonna have to sacrifice. And sometimes that does weigh on my mind. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you lot, yeah? You have to understand that if you do not master your mind, moving abroad is not going to save you. I promise you, moving abroad is not going to make you automatically become a different person just because you're in Da Nang, just because you're in Bali, just because you're in Koh Samui. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you see in front of you. I could be here, I could be doing whatever I need to be doing, but if I don't have my own mindset on lock and I'm not strong-minded within myself, me moving abroad is not going to do anything for me. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made over the past 2 years is not understanding the importance of having a stable environment. Because one of the things that I've realized now, so look at me, look at what I've done this year, right? I started this year in January till March, I was living in Thailand, had my high rise, was living that type of lifestyle, whoop-de-woo, whatever. March until about June, July, I was in Brazil. Then I went to Miami for a week. Then I went to the Caribbean for 2 weeks. Then I came back to the UK for 1 day. Lived in Portugal for 6 weeks with my friend. Then moved back to Thailand for a month. And now I'm just out here posted up in Vietnam. And I'm probably I am gonna be making my way back to South America very, very soon. If you don't have a good or stable environment, right, you're never gonna be able to have a stable mind. What do I mean by that? For me to be able to move abroad and really, you know, do things the right way and still be on track, still be having a good sense of discipline, still be working out, still be learning, still be developing, still be meeting people, still doing all of these things. It's a trade-off. Life is a trade-off. I would never be able to have a solid mentality. I'd never be able to feel the best if I don't have a good, stable environment. And that's why I've kind of come to the decision recently where I'm gonna kind of slow down with my travels. I've been traveling for 2 years, moving abroad, doing all this type of stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely wouldn't change it for the world, like being able to create this lifestyle for myself where I can move, go to whatever country I want, live however I want, do the things that I want, right? And just not have a boss, just do what I want to do, have freedom. That's the goal of why I started this channel. The goal of why is to have freedom. But what comes with that is if you don't have routine behind your freedom will no longer become real freedom. If you don't have an actual routine, you don't have structure, you don't have discipline behind the things that you're doing, that freedom will feel like a cage. It will begin to feel like you're stuck in a cage simply because you don't know how to organize yourself in the right way. You don't know how to set up your environment in the right way, which is conducive to the lifestyle that you actually want to go and live. Just because you see me over here and I'm here by the beach and I'm chilling, doesn't mean to say that I can afford to not have a good routine in my life. Doesn't mean to say that I can afford to not have a good balance, a good routine in my life. Because if I don't have a good, stable environment, I will never have a stable mind. That's the biggest thing that I could ever teach you based on the things that I have done in my own personal life across the last year and the last year as well. Mindset is so important and imperative to you being able to sustain yourself living abroad, because if you just go out and be like, yeah, I'm just going to move abroad, but you're not in the right mentality, you're not in the right mind frame, I guarantee you're not going to be able to stay abroad. Moving abroad is one thing, staying abroad is a different thing. I've mentioned this before, right? When people want to go and move abroad, a lot of people decide to go and move and do all this type of stuff because they want to go and escape their hometown. They want to go and, run away from their problems. But if you're the type of person who wants to just choose to run away rather than solving the problems that you have, the problems will not be solved just because you're in a different country. You can go and chill out here, be by the beach all day. You can go and post up in Colombia all you want. But if you don't have a strong mind and you haven't solved your own internal problems that you're dealing with and that you're facing on a day-to-day basis, being in a new location is not gonna change nothing, bro. Trust me, from someone who's done it myself. All right, yes, people, what is going on, man? In this video, this is gonna be module 1, right? Module 1 of the brand new Core Travel Mastery program. So for you to even be watching this right now, this means that you've invested in yourself because you are making a serious step to be able to relocate within the next 3 to 6 months. And you understand that a key pillar to doing so is through understanding how to build an online income, either through online sales or through building a personal brand and launching your own offer. In this video, I'm gonna be going over a custom method that I've been using with myself and all of my previous clients to date called the anchor versus wings effect to actually allow you to move abroad and do it the right way. How do you set yourself up to move abroad, but not just leave, but actually stay in the new country you're choosing to relocate to? So without further ado, let's get in. So anchor versus wings, right? So I'll start off by saying this. Most people fail abroad because they treat relocation like a vacation. Freedom only lasts if you build a foundation first. And when I say build a foundation first, what I'm talking about is going out with intention to build and create an online income for yourself, so you're not focused on savings and how much money you have in your Monzo or how much money you have saved in your cash ISA. You're thinking about how much money am I able to create each and every month to allow me to sustain this lifestyle living abroad and not ever have to go back home. So what is the goal? The goal is not just to move abroad. The goal is to stay abroad. I can tell you now, anybody in your family, in your friendship group right now can go and book an online ticket, a Ryanair one-way flight to Mallorca, to Mexico. It's not that difficult. But the difference is, can they actually sustain living abroad and thus stay abroad? Most people crash out because they chase beaches and not stability. You don't need another holiday. You need a solid framework, which is going to give you the dedicated blueprint to relocating in the right way. And that's exactly what I'm going to give you throughout this video. So the anchor versus wings principle is anchor equals routine, income, and discipline. The things that actually keep you grounded in the new country you've chosen to go and move to. Your ability to pay rent, live in these high-rise apartments, live in these beach villas, for example, in Bali, show up and compound progress is all dependent on your discipline, your routine, and your income that you've been able to go and create for yourself. If you do not have these 3 things in place, you are never going to be able to sustain a new lifestyle living abroad. It's not going to happen. Without anchors, you drift back home broke, because if you don't have a solid discipline, if you don't have a solid routine, and if you don't have a solid income stream to pay you into your bank online every single month, you are going to go back home. That's not a question, that's a fact. So lock in. Wings, the other side of this, so you have your anchor and you have the wings. Wings is the other 50% of your time when you're in a new country. This is going to consist of you exploring new places, doing the whole tourist thing, seeing new sightseeing, seeing new places, having new experiences, right? Building a social life, meeting other travelpreneurs and other remote entrepreneurs who are actually living abroad, who can help you and help you navigate the new place you're deciding to live in whilst actually traveling. Now, in this equation, the wing side of the equation is beaches, parties, exploring new cities, meeting new people, beach clubs, rooftop bars. Think of all of the lifestyle stuff that comes with you being a travelpreneur and moving abroad, which is a good thing. We're not saying that you have to be hustling at home or in the apartment every single day. No, go out and explore yourself. But if you have wings, if you have exploration, you have a good social life and you're traveling a lot, you're seeing and living, but you don't have an anchor, you don't have discipline, you don't have a routine, and you've got no online income, that literally equals chaos. So to have wings without the anchor, to have the social life without the routine, to have the travel without the income, to have the exploration without the discipline, literally means chaos. And that's the only thing you're going to be inviting into your life. And to have anchor without wings, what does it look like on the flip end? If you're only overly disciplined, if you're only hustle routine, you got some next routine that you've got a next routine and regiment you're going through every single day, and you're only focused on spending 24 hours of every single day only on your laptop working, taking calls, you're going to get bored. What's the point of moving abroad if you're not going to enjoy that same life abroad? Because you could have that same lifestyle trapped in your home back in the UK, back in the States, for example. So life is about balance, and especially when you're going to be moving into this new journey and chapter in your life as a travelpreneur, balance is the most crucial lever that you can pull to really make sure that you don't have to go home because you didn't balance yourself out in the right way. So the anchor versus wings principle states, anchor is your income, your routine, and your discipline. Wings is your exploration, your social life, and your travel. One without the other means it's not going to work. So why does this actually matter? Why am I telling you guys today about the anchor versus the wings principle? What significance is this going to have over your life and your time spent living abroad? Well, I'll tell you this, relocation isn't a holiday extension. It's a lifestyle progression and lifestyle elevation. So many people get this stuff moving abroad wrong because they think that's just a prolonged holiday. People go out there with savings. You're not going to be one of them because obviously you're part of my program. But the whole point is you need to understand what chapter of your life you're moving into. You're moving into a progressive state of your lifestyle. Do you understand that? You're going to be living a lifestyle in hot weather, probably somewhere that's relatively cheaper, or if not somewhere that's probably got a higher cost of living because you're living in a place which has a sick fucking network that can put you in rooms with people who can help you 3x, 5x, 10x your income, give you life opportunities you never had experience to before, and make memories you've never ever witnessed and or seen in your life before. But relocation is not a holiday. If you're going into this next chapter of your life thinking that's going to be a holiday, you're going to end up going back home and regretting the decisions and chances you wasted whilst you was out living abroad because you treated it like a holiday. If you can't create stability abroad, you will burn out and you will go home. Stability is everything. It's not about, oh, I just did 6 weeks in Chiang Mai. Oh, I just did 8 weeks living in Rio de Janeiro. Can you sustain that lifestyle for 2 years? And that's my exact point, where you don't want to be like the other group of people, all of these broke digital nomads who are taking sleeper buses and doing all this type of stuff because it's not sustainable. Do you want to be going on a 12-hour sleeper bus from Chiang Mai to Phuket just to save 15 quid every month for the rest of your life? No, you don't want to do that. Your audience back home will never understand the balance of lifestyle that you're going into. You're going into a lifestyle upgrade. You're not looking to just budget and live in hostels just to say you're living in Malaysia. That's not what we're doing here. We're looking to build generational wealth through creating online high income skills that's going to generate us income while simultaneously living and maximizing our ultimate life experience, traveling the world. That's why most people never leave, is because the audience, the people back home, your friends, your family, your first social group, your initial group of friends, they're never going to understand the balance that you're going to be moving into. They're not going to understand why you're trying to learn an online high income skill and speed run to 10K per month if you're already living the good life and you're living in Bali or you got a beachfront villa. They're never going to understand because they don't have the same goals and desires as you. But other travelpreneurs will understand the route that you're going down. Now, belief shift, the whole aim of this episode that I really tried to convey to you right now is, before, you probably had the mindset of, I'll move abroad and I'll just figure it out. Let me just book my ticket and it will just all be fine, right? But what you need to start to think of is, what is my anchor and what will my wings be? And if I don't have an anchor or my wings, I'll end up back home just where I started. If you don't have discipline, routine, or an online income stream to generate you an income, you're going to go home. If you're also spending 23 hours locked in your studio apartment in Bangkok because you're a freelancer and you don't know how to charge high ticket, you're never going to actually be able to enjoy and explore the new life or country you've just literally moved to. Life is about balance, and living as a travelpreneur, you really need to understand that. High leverage inputs that give you higher leverage outputs. That's the lifestyle that you're moving into, and you need to go into it with the right mentality, otherwise you will fail. Because this is the raw reality. A broke nomad story. We all know someone who's went and moved abroad, moved to Bali with 2K savings, they have no income anchor, they're surviving on cheap hostels and cheap food, and they end up flying back home within 90 days. Do you want to live that life? Genuinely. I'll answer for you. No, you don't want to live that life because you joined my program and you know exactly how I am, and that's not what we stand for. You are not going to be leaving and moving abroad, living off savings with no income actively coming in and trying to survive on cheap hostels and just trying to stretch out as many days as possible and try and cut corners, right? That's not living, that's surviving. What is the point of moving to another country just to be in survival mode? It doesn't make any sense. A travelpreneur, someone like myself, someone like my other clients you're gonna meet soon, right, are people who have built a 3 to 5K plus monthly online income, set good routines, training actively in the gym, having strong networks that they've been able to build and create for themselves of people who are living abroad, and they can stay indefinitely. At this point in time, I'm making this episode for you guys in Vietnam. I've literally got international networks in every single continent in the world, genuinely. If I was to go to Africa tomorrow, I have people there, trusted people, good strong networks that I have and I've made good connections with. Same in Europe, obviously, same in South America, same in America, same in the Caribbean, same in wherever you want to go, same in Asia. And this is what comes when you start to live and take on the paradigm of becoming a travelpreneur and not just a broke digital nomad. Both people in this example, a travelpreneur making 6 grand a month as a closer or making 12 grand a month on their own offer, building their own personal brand, living in Malaysia, living in Dubai, living in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. These are people who set routines, train in the gym, have a strong network, and they can stay indefinitely because of those reasons. Or do you want to be like the digital nomad taking a sleeper bus to Chiang Mai to save £9.50 and save themselves 300 baht? What type of lifestyle do you want to live? And this is all down to you and what you're going to learn throughout the rest of this program, but you need to come into it with the right paradigm. You need to come into it with the right mindset. Anchor first, wings second. That is the only way that your desired relocation becomes actual freedom and therefore becomes your reality, not just another escape. Yes, travelpreneurs, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode inside this module, the relocation framework. In this episode, right, I'm going to be going over the 5 pillars of stability. Trust me when I say, staying abroad isn't about flights or beaches. It's about building stability fast so business doesn't collapse. How are you going to be able to continuously scale your income if you're so focused on doing up lifestyle every single day and you don't have any systems in place to actually allow you to succeed in the new chapter of your life you're going forward with? You need to understand that the mindset you have now, probably working a 9-to-5 job whilst building an online income, right? You need to become a different version for you to actually scale full time on your online income whilst you're living in the other side of the world. If you want to go to Mallorca, you want to live in Brazil, you want to live in Colombia, you want to live in Southeast Asia, the stuff you're doing now, the inputs you're doing now, your routine now, all needs to change to be conducive to the person who's going to be able to sustain that lifestyle living abroad. So let's get straight into it. So the first section of this I want to go through with you guys is race around the world. Most people think, I'll just book an Airbnb and I'll figure it out. That's about the worst thing that you could ever possibly do. The moment you land, you're in a race against chaos. The reason why I say that you're in a race against chaos, because ask any of your friends who you might know, ask other people inside this network who are already living abroad, ask me. Whenever we go to a new country, if you do not have certain systems that allow you to actually immerse yourself into that country and also assimilate, you're going to be in chaos. You're going to land in a new country, not know where you're going, not know how to get around, not know how to use the Wi-Fi, or maybe you haven't got data on your phone, not know where the good work spots and cafes and rooftop bars are for you to get some good work done, not know where's a good place to go for a run, not know where's a good gym to go and use, not know how to go and navigate anything. The first few days you will be in chaos. And if you are going to be in chaos, have you thought about the actual implications that might have on your ability to scale your income? Imagine if you move to a new country, the first 10 days to 2 weeks, you're just in chaos trying to assimilate and understand this new place, but your calendar's booked out with all these closing calls, or you've got all these sales calls to sell people onto your online offer. What are you going to do? What system do you have that's going to save you from your ship sinking, right? And you're just going to end up burning through money and wasting money because you would have missed some sales calls, your close rate would have went down, the offer you're on is not very happy with you, or for example, the clients that you would have booked in yourself to sell onto your own offer are now thinking you're not serious because you're too busy just living the lifestyle abroad and you're not actually serving or fulfilling the clients. No housing, no internet, no workspace, you'll be gone in weeks. The travelpreneurs who last have 5 non-negotiables that they do and abide by from day one. And I'm not saying this just for the sake of saying this. I'm saying this from experience, and I'm also saying this off the back of speaking with multiple of my clients inside this program who have already helped to actually go and move abroad. So the 5 pillars of stability, what are they? Housing. Short term versus long term. If you're staying somewhere for the first 2 to 4 weeks, I would recommend Airbnb, serviced apartments, no hostels at all. Test the area. You want to know where is a good part of this country, this city, this area, this island, for example, for me to stay. Is it conducive to the lifestyle I actually want to go and live? After the first initial 2 to 4 weeks and you're looking to stay in that place long term, you need to start scouting, negotiating directly with property agents, going on Facebook Marketplace, right? Going on Airbnb, booking for one night and asking if you can stay for an extra 3 months, but getting their number so you can talk to them on WhatsApp and actually get a better deal, for example, and talk direct to the owner and cut out the middleman. Using local agents and avoiding tourist pricing. The last thing you want to do is move to a new country, go to this new country making online money, but you're still getting treated like a tourist because you don't know how to navigate the new world that you're living in. This is valid for whatever part of the world you want to go and move into, right? This is some serious gems right here. Housing is your base. Get it wrong and nothing else sticks. Do you know how big of a deal it is, right? To go and stay in somewhere, but because you didn't do your due diligence, you stayed in the wrong place. You've got a month or 2, 3 month Airbnb or a condo lease, whatever it could be, but it's the wrong place, not in a good area. The condo or the place you're staying in overall, the property is just shit, and you're not able to get any good work done there. There's no natural light, no balcony, nothing for you to do. You're basically just hostel living and you got your own bathroom. You need to understand that as a travelpreneur, especially the places that you go and decide to stay in, these things can help you with your content. These things can actually help you get opportunities, right? Right now, this is literally my view as I'm making this video. So imagine how many pieces of content I'm able to get done literally sitting here. Imagine how good of a view and how much good, great quality content I'll be able to go and capture when I've got my missus or a cameraman actually filming me, working, for example, living on this sitting on this balcony doing work, and I'm on the 35th floor, right? And I've got literally a beach view. I am very strategic, right, with the places I choose to go and stay in a new country I'm moving to, because it has to fit my requirements and my boundaries as a travelpreneur. I do want to be living in aesthetically pleasing places that actually motivate me to go and get some work done, as well as that I can actually use and benefit from a content or from a lifestyle perspective, because I am a travelpreneur. I'm not looking on Airbnb and seeing which is the cheapest place that I can stay, and oh, this place is £19.99 cheaper than the other one, let me stay there, but it's got no natural light, it's got an old ass bathroom and a dusty shower head. These things are very important if you're seriously going to be looking to move, and not just move, but stay living abroad. The next one, internet. If you're going to be living abroad, this is very basic stuff, but internet is your biggest income generating vehicle, right? Even if you don't have a laptop and you just have a phone, but you have a phone with internet, you can still make money. You need to make sure that the places you're going to, before you sign any long-term lease, has strong Wi-Fi speed, or you're able to actually get strong Wi-Fi in that area. Always, always, always have backup. SIM card, hotspot, co-working membership, cafes with reliable Wi-Fi. Your internet is your income. Protect that shit like it's your oxygen, because it literally is. Gym and fitness routine. Without health, you're going to lose discipline. Find a local gym or establish some sort of body weight travel routine immediately that allows you to still lock in and be disciplined, even though you're living and moving into a new place and or country. Having a gym, having a routine, going for runs, working out is structure, and structure gives you stability. Stability gives you a foundation, and foundation is what builds your income. Write that down. These things are very, very, very important. And the next thing as well is workspace setup. You want to have a mix of a handful of different setups and places that you can go and work from when you're on your journey. You don't only want to be trapped in your room. What's the point of living in Mexico for 6 weeks if the whole time, every single day, you're just trapped in your 1-bed apartment for 9 hours a day taking closing calls? You're not in Mexico, you're just in a semi-detached house that you paid more money for. Test cafes and co-working spaces in your first week. Find your default list of places where you know you're going to work daily, so you can mix it up. Not every day do you want to be stuck in the house. A couple of days you might want to go and work from a rooftop bar. You might want to go and work from a cafe. You might want to go and link up with some of your boys or your friends, for example, and get some good work done there. Workspace equals productivity, and having no workspace is a distraction because it will spiral out your focus. Make sure you have a handful of minimum 3 key places where you can see yourself working from, taking calls from, doing good work from, looking in from, and actually focusing on one to generate income in that exact place. Banking, payments, and phone. Sort a local SIM card within 24 hours. All you need to do is go onto Airalo. Download the Airalo app. It is the main mobile data provider for when you are traveling. It will cost you like 20 quid for like 15 days or 30 days of unlimited Wi-Fi. It is so worth it, 110%. I used to be someone who used to go to the local shops and get a local SIM, but as I've been personally moving around so much, and a lot of you guys inside the program have already been going from Bali to Vietnam to Bangkok to Singapore to Kuala Lumpur to all these places, you don't have time. It's just a waste of time. Just go on Airalo, download the app once, click a few buttons, pay 10 quid, and you've literally just got unlimited data in this new country you've moved to. It's as simple as that. Have 2 to 3 payment options, right? Have 2 to 3 payment options. So I always recommend one credit card, like an Amex, for example. A Wise and a Revolut should be your absolute minimum. Do not go and move to a new country if you don't have at least the 3 of these things. You always want to be having a credit card on you. So if you have an Amex, for example, you can get travel points as in when you're spending money in this foreign country, which you can redeem on business class flights and stuff like that. That is working smart. Or free hotels. That is working smart as a travelpreneur. Number 2, Wise and Revolut, international banks that will never fail you. If you're only relying on only UK high street banks, you're just an idiot. You're doing this whole travelpreneurship stuff wrong. You need to be international. My goal is to have as many residencies, live in as many countries as possible, and have as many international banking systems as possible. What's going to happen if you go out to Thailand or Singapore or Vietnam and you've only brought your Barclays card and then you lose it 2 days later? You're just silly for that. Make sure you have minimum 3 different banking options, 1 credit card, a Wise and a Revolut, and 2 more. I genuinely myself have about 5 to 10 different banks that I use throughout my days. Right? You can never have enough banks. Why would you close off pathways to receiving money? It doesn't make sense. Open as many banks as you possibly can and always optimize for international banks because you're going to be living abroad. In case you lose a card in person, you're all right because you've got 7 more. This is thinking smart and planning for the long term. Avoid being stranded in a random country with a declined card. Having access to your money literally gives you peace of mind. It's as simple as that. So those are the 5 pillars of stability. So why does this actually matter? This matters because when you land abroad, you have to understand, what are you here for? You're here because you want to go and move abroad. It's as simple as that. You want to make money. You want to make money online so that you can go and move abroad. It's as simple as that. When you land abroad, you only have so much mental energy. The first 2 to 4 days once you've moved to a new country, you're going to be feeling a little bit drained. It's going to take you a little bit of time to assimilate into the new country and actually get your body clock set back up. If those 5 things that I've just went through are not secured within the first 24 hours, I guarantee you'll spend all of your time firefighting and putting out fires instead of building an online income. Take it from someone who's traveled a lot. In this year of 2025, I have literally been to 7 countries and we're now in October. I'm planning on visiting 3 before the year ends. So that's 10 countries in 12 months, all right? And making money in every single country as well. So trust me when I say, if these 5 things are not secured, you're spending your first week, imagine how many hours you're spending just putting out fires and not actually focusing on building your income. That is the main goal. That is what you're doing it for. Stability makes freedom possible and chaos kills that. So the goal for this episode with you guys is to help you actually change your mindset and mentality from, oh, I'll just figure it out when I get there, to the first thing I do when I get abroad and I arrive off that plane is lock in the 5 pillars of stability. So let me just show you an example of what this actually looks like practically. So you got James and you got Heidi. James moves to Mexico, books a random Airbnb, has shit Wi-Fi, which means that he misses client calls. He's on his own offer, fitness coach, for example. He misses client calls, which means that his income dries up because now he's got no more calls booked in the diary and his old leads have went cold because they don't think that he's serious, and he ends up flying home broke because he just got booted off of his closing offer, for example. That's a realistic example of what could happen to you if you don't have your foundation set up immediately when you land. Compared to Heidi, Heidi lands in Thailand. She sorts out her housing immediately, her SIM card from Airalo, she gets her gym and her routine set up, she finds a good workspace or co-working spot to go and work from, and her set of cafes, all in week 1. She's got a stable environment, which means that now she can grow her income while she's still exploring because she's set up, because she has spent time setting up her own foundation. Both people had the same dream, but only one built the pillars to sustain that dream. All right, so what I want you guys to do now that you've just watched this video is I want you to go into the Discord and actually send me a voice message, right? Send me a voice message on what is the biggest thing that you've learned so far through this module. What is the biggest thing you've learned about relocation through this module? And I want you to send me a voice note and ask me any questions that you have regarding this, right? As always, I will know whether you've completed this program or not, and I will know based on who is actually completing the task said within the videos. Make sure that is you if you want to get the result that you sign up for, all right? So go and drop me a message in the one-to-one support ticket and I'll get back to you straight away. And see you in the next one. Yes, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Core Travel Mastery Program. So in this episode, I'm gonna be going over your launchpad country. It's so important for you to build and base your country based around what actually works for you and is gonna give you the correct runway to be able to move there and stay there. Out of all the different countries in the world, you have to be very selective and intentional about where you choose to go and why do you want to go there. So many people just go and follow the buzz and follow the hype about, oh, Thailand looks like it's lit right now, or Vietnam looks like a cool place to go, or I see loads of people moving to Colombia, and they just go there without actually doing their own due diligence to see, is this country going to be the right country for me and where I'm at in my online income journey at this very point in time. So let's jump straight in and I'll show you how. So what you need to understand, guys, is that freedom doesn't start with a dream destination. It starts with picking the right launch pad. You might have a designated place to go and move to. Your ultimate goal might be to go and move to Brazil. I've done there, I've been there myself, I've lived there for 5 months. But if you can't afford to sustain, right, a middle class at least lifestyle living in Brazil, you are not going to Brazil right now. You have to understand that where you start is not where you will end up. When I first decided to go and move to Thailand, I did so because it made sense for me and where I was at in my online income journey. I knew a couple people out there who I could just go and crash at their house whilst I was saving money. I only had savings, I didn't have an online income. I knew that Thailand was quite cheap cost of living wise, but I didn't want to stay there forever. At this very point in time, I'm here in Vietnam, but this year alone, I've literally lived and traveled to 7 different countries and lived in over 3 continents because my income has allowed me to do so. I didn't decide where I want to stay as my final destination and go there first. I've always wanted to live in South America, actually. I'm currently in Vietnam. I've done 4 months in Brazil, and I'm going back to the Caribbean / South America to live there and base off there long term because now my income allows me to. But I didn't start living there. I didn't start off and say, yeah, I want to go and move abroad. Let me go to Miami. It doesn't make any sense. You have to understand where is the right launch pad for me to pick at this very point in my life based on my income. Launch or vacation. Most people pick a country based on Instagram photos, right? The majority of people pick countries that they want to move to based on where they think the weather's going to be great, or where they think that it's really popular, or where their friends have gone before. And that is the exact reason why 1 in 3 digital nomads who move abroad end up going back home to their original country within 12 months of leaving, because you're not doing it right. You are not planning it correctly and you don't know your actual plan. You're looking at your final destination when you should be looking at which country is going to be my launch pad to allow me to take off and sustain this lifestyle. People get stuck in the red tape. They burn through cash, blow through their savings, or feel isolated because they have no network in the new country they decided to go and move to. The truth is, your first country isn't about paradise, it's about leverage. You need a launch pad, you don't need a vacation spot. So what I really mean by that, right, is imagine if I have always wanted to go and move to the Caribbean, or always wanted to go and move to, you know, El Poblado in Colombia, for example, Medellin, Colombia. Imagine if I went and moved to those 2 places when I didn't have an active online income coming in and I was basically living off savings when I first moved to Thailand. Do you think that would be smart? Have you heard anyone who's gone to move to Dubai or Miami living off savings? Obviously the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because that place is not the launch pad. The place where most people want to go is the final destination. So what I'm saying is you need to choose your launch pad on where's the right place for you to move to in aid of you being able to stay there. Does that make sense? Thailand, Southeast Asia, certain parts of South America are very cheap. They have a very low cost of living. So this should be your launch pad. Which countries have a low cost of living that you can get by and survive in for a few months whilst you're building and increasing your online income, rather than putting additional pressure on yourself, living in a place which has high expensive, probably the same to what country you've moved from originally, being the UK or America. So what's the point in moving? You might as well just stay. You have to understand location arbitrage and travel leverage. What that means is what places in the world can you actually leverage to help you at this current stage you're at in your life. If you're building your online income, you're making anywhere from 1 to 4K right now. Does it make sense to go to Dubai? Obviously not. Does it make sense to go to America? Obviously not. Does it make sense to go to Southeast Asia, right? Some specific parts like Da Nang, Vietnam, very low cost of living here. Chiang Mai, Thailand, Chonburi, Thailand, Bangkok even, very low cost of living in those places as well. And other parts of Southeast Asia and South America. Bahia, Salvador in Brazil. All these different places and parts in the world where you can actually go and move to, which have a low cost of living, which can help you as you're in the launchpad stage of becoming a travelpreneur. You need a launchpad and you don't need a vacation spot. So let me go and give you guys the Freedom Triangle method that I have used that has allowed me to sustain myself, building an online income and increasing my online income every single month whilst living abroad for almost 2 years. So the Freedom Triangle method is this, right? You have 3 key pillars which will dictate where is the best place for you to go right now. Forget where you want to go, where can you go based on your current criteria? Cost of living, visa ease, and community. These are the 3 most important things if you're looking to move and stay abroad. Cost of living, visa ease. How easy is it for you to actually live and stay and even become a resident potentially in this chosen country that you're looking to move to? And last but not least, the community aspect. Who do you know? What type of community or network can you build up in this new place you're moving to? Or do you just want to be a hermit living in the other side of the world, but you're stuck because you don't know anyone in the place you just decided to go and move to? Cost of living. You need to have an affordable runway. You need time to build momentum, not time stressing over bills, or alternatively looking to stay in a hostel because things are too expensive. You don't want to be living like that either. There's a fine line where you can live a good upper middle class life if you selectively choose your launch pad, and it means that you can have a good quality of life whilst you're still building without having excess overheads, right? And excess expenses. You want to find a place that has low daily expenses, which allows you a longer runway for you to increase your business income from your offer or scale your online sales roles, right? And increase your earning potentially every single month and increase in comps. Example, if I had chosen to go and move to, right, Abu Dhabi, for example, if I've chosen to go and move to Trinidad and Tobago and live in a nice, villa beachfront in the islands in the Caribbean, for example, and my monthly expenses were about 7 grand, 6 to 7 grand, but I'm only making 3.5 grand a month as a setter or as an SDR or from my own offer that's not really picked up yet. Is that smart? Obviously that's not smart. But equally, you have to do your due diligence to know which place is the right place for you to go and not just guess and wing it just because Thailand's popping right now and all these people are moving to Thailand. What does that mean? Any single country has places where they've got higher rent, places which are a bit more popular, places which are a bit more upper class, and also places which are a lot more affordable and where the locals live. You need to be slap bang in the middle. What's the point of moving country to live like a lower class citizen in the next country that you've decided to move to just so you can say that you're living there? Don't be that person moving to Vietnam and is not making any money and now you're choosing to stay in 2 or 3 star hostels just to say that you're living in Da Nang, Vietnam. It's not worth it. You don't want to live like that. You're not a broke person traveling, right? You're also not a digital nomad. You are a travelpreneur. You are a remote entrepreneur. Focusing on scaling your online income and choosing the launchpad country which can start your journey to help you sustain your journey. Visa ease, lower red tape and high flexibility. Most people don't actually do due diligence or enough research into the visa and residency situation of the country they are choosing to move to. When I first moved to Thailand, I didn't know shit about visas. I just did a quick ChatGPT search. That's literally it. And I just moved. And I had a couple of friends and they'd be like, yeah, don't worry, you'll be fine. I was like, okay. 7 months later, I'm doing visa runs. 7 months later, I'm on like a 10-hour bus going to Cambodia. All this type of long stuff. Is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. And then after all that, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to pay outright for a visa. And I got myself a 1-year education visa that cost me like £1,500. Saved all the trouble of doing all these stupid little border runs. What type of lifestyle do you want to have living abroad? And your visa is going to be the biggest lever that you can pull, which will drastically affect the type of lifestyle you can have and or maintain in that foreign country. You need to do due diligence and understand the visa situation for these countries you're looking to go and move to. The easier the visa, the faster you can settle and focus on scaling your income, focus on building a community, focus on building a routine. But imagine moving to a country, but every 60 days you got to go and do a border run. You got to up and pack up all your suitcase, bring everything together because you don't even know if you're going to get allowed back into that country. Is it worth it? You're basically just a full-time traveler. That's not the point we're looking for. We're looking to do travel traveling, not be living out of a suitcase for the rest of our life and, you know, running away from immigration. That's not the goal. Don't waste your energy on legal headaches. You know how many people I've spoken to and have ended up having bad experiences living in a country just because they didn't do their due diligence and understand the actual visa situation in the chosen country they decided to move to. You don't want to be like that. Tourist visas, digital nomad visas, or visa runs. Pick what is smoothest and easiest for you to do according to your current situation. So example, if I had moved to Thailand and I was making 5K a month, I would definitely just get myself a DTV visa and save myself all the trouble. If I had moved to Vietnam and I didn't have a consistent income online coming in, I would actually see ahead of time what the visa situation is like in Vietnam. But in Vietnam, they're quite relaxed, and they're a lot more relaxed when it comes from an immigration standpoint compared to Thailand. You can just keep doing countless extensions. But you need to know this stuff like the back of your hand if you're now stepping up to move into the online space and living globally across the world. You need to understand visa. You need to understand tax situations, setting yourself up. These are all things that are very, very important. Don't overcomplicate these things in your head. You do not have to make it any more complicated than it needs to be, but you still need to understand what the situation is going to be in the launchpad country you are intending on moving to. Community. Now, it's very, very important to have an entrepreneurial network, and I say specifically an entrepreneurial network, because the reality is you can move abroad tomorrow and you can meet 100 people, but probably 87 of those 100 people are just backpackers, not making any money, having two big ass backpacks that they're walking around for 3 hours because they want to save £10 on a taxi or 20 quid on a hotel for one night. You can easily meet people, but you want to make sure that you're meeting good quality people. So therefore, you need to be a good quality person yourself. How do you address yourself? How do you show up for yourself living abroad? How do you kind of conduct yourself in this new country you've decided to go and move to? These things are very, very important, because the reality is when you're living abroad, your community is your survival. You need to have a strong community and network of people who are on the exact same wavelength as you, who inspire you, who push you, who want to go and do a morning work session in a cafe. And then they might want to go to a rooftop bar or go and enjoy themselves for the rest of their day, sightsee, do whatever, because they made some money in that day. The people that you choose to spend time with, especially when living abroad, will have the biggest impact on your journey. I have been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been that bright-eyed, a little bit ignorant and naive guy, young guy who's moved abroad and just wants to meet any single person possible, right? I've been that person when I first moved to Thailand, was trying to be friends with everybody. And then before you know it, you're getting in with the wrong crowd and these people who don't really have the same morals and or beliefs as I do. And now I'm very selective of who I allow myself to share energy with, because I understand I only want to be with killers. I only want to be with people that are pushing me and pushing me forward and inspiring me to do more. When you move abroad, you're going to understand that there's so many different archetypes and people that choose to move abroad. You're going to meet the backpackers, the digital nomads who are making £1,500 a month and just want to live a good life just to say that they left the UK, and the actual travelpreneurs who are people who are looking to scale their online income, build generational wealth, and not hinder or cap their income just to say that they're in a foreign country. They're putting in the work. So you need to ask yourself, what type of group of people do you want to be hanging around with and why? And the ultimate question is, what type of person do you need to become to actually fit in with this crowd of people that you desire to go and, you know, surround yourself with? So that is the Freedom Triangle method, and that is the exact 3-step method that I would always go to and always recommend people to go through and at least think about before they intend to go and move to a country. It's very important that you do all of these stuff and think things through. Think from the end. What type of lifestyle do I want to have? What type of people do I want to be around in this country that I'm moving to? That's going to be a very big factor of what your lifestyle is going to be like whilst you're living abroad. So let's look at make or break, right? And why is it make or break? I'll be all the way honest with you. The right first country gives you the best amount of momentum. Take it from myself. I moved to Thailand and that was a strategic decision. I could have easily went to Cambodia. I could have easily went to Singapore, but I knew that Thailand, right? I knew that if I was going to start doing content, Thailand's going to be the hotspot that's going to build me the audience, right? Because I'm already unique. I'm a black guy who's learned how to speak Thai, right? That can separate me from everybody else. There's already a big network of people there. A lot of people already want to go to this place. So if I get there and leverage it in the right way, this can build serious momentum for me in my online journey. And that's exactly what it did. Every single thing that I did was intentional. Every single piece of content that I posted to build my audience and build my brand and thus build a business online was intentional. I knew exactly what I was doing and what the future steps would be if I pulled, hey, this is gonna happen. If I picked the wrong country, or if you decide to go and pick the wrong country that you can't sustain, doesn't have a good network, and has bad visa options, the wrong country will drain your cash, drain your confidence, and most of all, drain your energy. You want to move abroad and make the lifestyle you're going to step into easier than the one you've had in your home country. Is it worth moving abroad just to be living with 10 times more stress, worrying about making money, worrying about visas, worrying about network, worrying about all these things that you don't need to do if you had just planned it out in the right way? Relocation is already hard enough. You're relocating your life. Do you understand that? You're changing your whole life. Every single thing that you know right now that is normal and your usual and your comfort is going to go. It's going to be all completely new. That is already a challenge within itself. Do not make it harder by simply choosing the wrong country. The wrong country and the wrong launch pad can ruin your whole journey. It's very important to selectively and intentionally pick which launchpad country is going to be the best for you depending on your journey. So the goal for this episode with you guys was to help transition your mindset from I'll just move to wherever looks easy or I'll just move to wherever looks popping on social media, and now start to understand that you need to decide on your launchpad and why your launchpad has to pass the freedom triangle test or you will not last abroad. If you do not intentionally position yourself in the right country, you will not last more than 6 months abroad. That's the realest piece of advice that I could ever give you. If you do not set yourself up in the right way, build a solid online income stream, you're not going to last living abroad. So remember, you are a travelpreneur. You are a remote entrepreneur who is traveling the world while simultaneously scaling your income. Don't chase a paradise, build from a launch pad. I can't stress this enough. Do not chase paradise, build from a launch pad. If your first country passes the freedom triangle, you'll actually stay abroad long enough for you to win. The first place where you move to is probably not where you're gonna stay for the rest of your life. Let's be realistic. I knew in my head that me moving to Thailand is only a temporary thing. I knew I didn't want to spend the rest of my life living in Thailand, but that's because Thailand was my launchpad country. So where's yours? If you've got any questions based on this episode, feel free to send me a voice note in the one-to-one support ticket. I'll be more than happy to help you with any single question that you have regarding this, right? But please do take time to think about this. This episode here is the make or break of your trajectory of you deciding to go move and stay living abroad. See you in the next video. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of this module. In this episode, we are going to be going over how to actually immerse yourself into travelpreneurship. Now, a lot of you don't actually understand the concept of what it means truly to be a travelpreneur. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking this down in full detail so you can actually understand what it takes for you to step into a new paradigm of becoming a travelpreneur and doing things the right way. Freedom abroad is not just about money, right? It's really not. Having freedom is not just about, oh, I make $6 grand a month and I live in Mallorca, right? That doesn't mean anything. It's about creating a balance that keeps you disciplined, fulfilled, and able to actually stay long term. Like I keep saying always, anybody can book a ticket and go and move abroad, right? Anybody can go and do that. But not everybody can go and actually take the time to travel the world, explore new cultures and countries while simultaneously scaling their online income. Not everybody can do that. Only travelpreneurs can do that. What does failed assimilation mean? The reality is most people crash out after 3 to 6 months living abroad. Like I said before, 1 in 3 digital nomads end up moving back home to their home country within 12 months of leaving. If you do not want that to be you, who said the big shebang, hey guys, I'm leaving, I'm going to go and move abroad, but within a year you're going straight to go and move back, you need to understand how to do things the right way and how to navigate yourself. The reason why these people end up moving back within 12 months is because they either grind until they burn out. We know those people who are just freelancers, living in a cheap hostel somewhere in Southeast Asia, for example, and are just burning out, working every day because they're just literally just a freelancer. Freelance. That's all they're doing. How many clients can I get? That's all they're doing. Or they play until they run out of money. Or they're the opposite and they don't take it seriously and they fall into the lifestyle trap. They become undisciplined because there's too much temptation and distraction in the new country they chose to move to, and they don't know how to say no. And they end up blowing through their savings or their income and they have to go back home. The truth is, if you cannot blend work, play, and reflection, you will not last. If you do not know how to blend time to work, put in the energy to go and make money, right? The bread and butter, with the balance of being able to go and enjoy yourself in the new country you've decided to go and move to, and having some time to reflect on where you're going right and what can be changed, you will not last. These 3 things are so crucially important, and this is the main denominating factor as to why so many people end up going back home to the UK after a couple months. Or so many people have built an online income, but they still go back home and say, yeah, I went to go see my family. No, you didn't, bro. You just couldn't hack it abroad. That's just the truth. The blend model is how you actually stay abroad long term, and that's what I'm going to be giving you guys today. The blend model is disciplined work blocks. This is how I set up my day. I have disciplined work blocks, which are my non-negotiables. So I'll take sales calls, create content, do my high income tasks. This is what I like to call your highest leverage task in the day. I do this first thing in the morning. I'll wake up maybe at 7 a.m., have my breakfast, go for a run, come back, journal, do what I got to do. By 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., for example, to about 11:30 or 12, I'm doing my highest leverage task. So what task is the one thing that I can pull which gives me the highest result, aka makes me the most amount of money? For me, it's obviously making content and fulfilling you guys. So sales calls, content, income tasks, these all have to get done before you even think about going out to play. I like to build my routine by doing deep blocks of work throughout the morning, and early afternoon and evening I've got the rest of the day to do whatever I want to go and do. Create time blocks for yourself. So this is a practical action step that you can do. Create time blocks for yourself. For example, say to yourself, from 9 to 1 p.m, right, it's laptop, deep focus, I'm getting my highest leverage task done. Then for the rest of the day, I can go and do what I want. Go and do the tourist vibe, go and see something new, go and see a bit of the culture. And what this does is this anchors your lifestyle based around the results that you're able to create for yourself. Imagine waking up and starting a day, working for a few hours, 4 or 5 hours, and being able to go and make 2K in a day. And of course, now that you've got that result for yourself, you're going to want to go and chill out. Now, obviously this is dependent and this is a variable depending on what type of online income stream you've chosen. Obviously, as a business owner, I have my own team. So I've been able to schedule my calendar around what I want to do and having disciplined work blocks first. However, if you're someone in a setting role, closing role, anything in between, or generally an online sales role, you may not be able to do this. But what I would try and do is build your days around work. Build your days around the few hours that you're gonna have to lock in, take calls, set for a few hours, so you still have some time for yourself. What time zone is your offer owner in? So therefore, what time zone do you need to be available? Okay, I'll base my work block around that. So just because it might not be the same and you might not be able to lock in and have your deep work block from 7 a.m. to 11, doesn't mean to say that it can't be from 4 till 9 p.m. And you can do it the opposite way around, right? There's always a way that you can structure your days around having a disciplined work block. You just need to find it and be organized. I said this a few episodes to you guys, right? But it's just so true. Having freedom without discipline equals chaos. So the second blend model is exploration and social, the connection fuel. You have to have the connection arm within your journey being a travelpreneur. Otherwise, it's also not going to be sustainable. And I'll tell you why. Afternoons and evenings of a gym, right? Meeting new people, networking dinners, dates, adventures, doing stuff. Even me, yesterday I was a little bit bored, so I said to my girlfriend that I'm gonna rent out a motorbike, which I did, and I literally spent like 2-3 hours just riding along the coast here currently in Da Nang, Vietnam, because why not? This is stuff that excites me. I like riding bikes, you know, I like doing stuff like that, and I can do that, so I will go and do that. Doing things that keeps me excited and allows me to still have fun, whilst going to different viewpoints and stuff out here in this country that I'm living in, which allows me to integrate into the new culture. Freedom without fun is isolation. What you don't want to do is be the freelancer who's always 23 hours in a day working, and is not able to go and travel and explore in the new country that they've chosen to move to. What is the point of moving to Medellin, Colombia, if you're just going to spend 12 hours every single day stuck in the same room, just working, right? You're not living or seeing the country. You have to understand that life is about balance and you need to find yours. And like I said last episode, reflection, journaling at night, tracking do you track your wins? Genuinely, right, as of right now, do you even track your days and what goes well and what doesn't go well within your days? Do you journal? Do you meditate, right? Do you pray? If you're a religious person, you need to be reviewing your goals weekly and having dedicated time to reflect. Prayer is reflection, meditation is reflection, journaling is reflection, tracking your wins is reflection. Reflection stops you from drifting because you can understand your progress and see and validate your efforts in real time. The fact that you're here inside my program says to me that you've literally went against 99% of the people around you who don't understand the online space, don't have as big of a why as you, don't really have the actual discipline and the gut on the grit to go after the life that they want. So you really, really, really need to be rooting yourself constantly in your why and reflecting on your efforts and validating the stuff that you're actually doing. You're going down a completely different path to the majority of people that you know. So why are you not actually reflecting on that and journaling your progress in the new chapter of your life you're stepping into? Track your wins, track your weeks, review your goals. What did I get done this week? It's very, very important. All right, so part 2 of this blend model is that I really just want to get you guys to understand that living abroad is not about working 24/7, or it's also not about vacation mode. Living abroad is about having a stable balance between the two. The blend model ensures that you keep your income stable so you avoid burnout. Stay connected to people and culture to allow yourself to grow personally and professionally. This blend model that I've been able to use and implement into my own routine is what has allowed me to turn 3 months abroad into 2 years. This can turn you 2 months into 3 years. If you understand the balance and know what your inputs will be whilst living abroad to actually dictate and have certain outputs that you get back from that. Immersing yourself into travelpreneurship in the right way is what's gonna allow you to not just move abroad, but also stay abroad. So let's look at Alex, right? Alex grinds 12 hours a day, but he's living in Bali, right? So he makes money, he's making 7 grand a month, he works as a closer, and he's also building his own online offer that's doing 2 grand a month, 2 or 3K. But because he hates his life, he's burnt out in 4 months, so he ends up flying home because he's living in Bali, but he didn't get to see Bali. He didn't get to explore Bali because he's just working, stuck in his laptop inside his villa every single day. So he gets burnt out and ends up flying straight back home. Is it really worth Alex, in this case, moving abroad in the first place? No. Right? Because he didn't know how to become and immerse himself into the new lifestyle as a travelpreneur. Sam parties every night in Rio, out in Copacabana, living it up, out in Lapa, all these different places. But because he's only focused on partying and living the good life, he runs out of cash in 2 months and it ends up flying back home broke. So both of these scenarios, right, you just end up having a net negative experience anyways. The person who does know how to make money but gets lost in the sauce still loses. The person who gets lost in the sauce and makes no money still loses. You both end up back in the same position. Or what could be you is you have work blocks in the morning or afternoon, you have gym and social events that you go to every day, and you journal at night. Your income grows, your lifestyle flourishes, and you're able to stay and move abroad and navigate your new chapter in your life correctly. So I want you to take what I've said here, and as I always say, a word to the wise is sufficient. This is very important. What I went through so far in this module is the actual make or break of whether or not you're really going to be able to sustain it living abroad. It's as simple as that. If you do not understand how to immerse yourself into being a travelpreneur and you have not taken every single gem I've given you in this whole relocation framework module, you're never going to be able to sustain and grow your lifestyle living abroad. The goal is not to be a traveler. The goal is not to be a backpacker. The goal is not to be a local. The goal is to be a travelpreneur. Freedom isn't found in extremes. That's why most people get it wrong. It's found in the blend. Master your work, master your fun, and your reflection, so you never ever have to go back. All right, guys, I hope you found this episode super useful and all the rest of the episodes inside this module. As I always say, a word to the wise is sufficient. So if you've taken on and actually implemented, made notes based off this module alone, it will be sufficient enough to make a change in your life as you go out to continue your life living abroad. See you in the next one. Let's go. Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. So in this episode 2 of the relocation module, I'm going to be talking about the relocation system that you need to be able to move abroad and stay abroad. And I'm also going to be giving you guys my custom 90-day formula that has allowed me to travel to 7 countries this year alone. And this year alone, in 2025, I have lived in 3 different continents, and every single country I've moved to this year, I've literally made more and more money in online business simply through understanding this formula I'm going to share with you guys today. So without further ado, let's jump in. So relocation system. Relocation isn't about flights or Airbnbs, it's about preparation. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. You've all heard that before. The only way to succeed abroad is to build a 90-day runway before you leave. Most people get the actual goal setting when it comes to moving abroad the complete wrong way around, and I'm going to tell you exactly what not to do so you know what you should be doing. So let's get into it. The opposite way out. Most people plan their escape backwards. How many of you right now are desiring to go and move abroad, or maybe you're already abroad and you want to stay abroad and plan the next 12 months? You're planning the wrong way around. Most people think, pick a country, then book a flight, then go and panic about money and logistics and, oh, I didn't know now that the cost of living here is 4 grand, can I afford that? That's just complete bullshit. What you need to do is you need a runway, because if you do not have a runway, you will burn out in 3 months and you will end up back home. It's not going to be sustainable. You guys don't understand how to actually sustain life living abroad because you look at things in an inverse manner and it doesn't even make any sense. The 90-day formula that you need to move and stay abroad, right? Especially if you're building yourself a runway, is this. Build an online income first. Land an online sales role, whether that be as a setter or a closer, or monetize your personal brand or offer. So you have active money, cash flow coming in from your business, monetizing your personal brand, from your online sales role, which you're maximizing your online skill of sales to make daily commission. So you've got money coming in regardless. The anchor must be earning before you leave. Don't make the same mistake that I have done myself, right? When I first started out, which is moving abroad, living off savings, because anyone else other than me would have just fucking blown the bag and went back home to the UK. And I have been able to sustain living abroad for this is my second year living abroad, and I'm not going back to the UK. And that's because I quickly understood where I was going wrong in my way of thinking in the lead up to me moving abroad, and my runway was completely the wrong way. And that's why I'm telling you guys, if you're thinking of where you should go without thinking about how much money you have to afford to sustain where you want to go, you're looking at it in the complete wrong way. Do not buy flights with hope. Buy them with recurring cash flow. If you're not making 2 to 4 grand a month, for example, online consistently, why are you looking at a one-way ticket to Dubai? Why are you looking at a one-way ticket to Thailand? Why are you looking at a one-way ticket to Colombia? It does not make any sense if you don't even have an active income that you've been able to build and generate for yourself before you come out to that country. It's not easy. Just because I've been able to do it doesn't mean to say that it's easy and everyone should do it. In fact, I'm against it, and with the knowledge I have now, I would not have done the same things I've done in terms of moving abroad, specifically off savings. It's silly. You need to move abroad with an already active incoming cash flow all coming into your bank online every single month. So let's talk about logistics. Legal and practical setup. Obviously, these are the standard things you need to make sure you have, because if your plan is to move and stay, my goal is to set you up with an online income so you can move abroad and not have to go back. So considering you don't have to or / want to go back, you need to make sure you have an up-to-date passport. Do you know how many of people message me or have problems because they've lost their fucking passport or their passport's expired whilst they're abroad? This is just rookie mistakes. Make sure you have minimum 12 months, really it should be a year and a half. Make sure you have a minimum 1 to 2 years validity on your passport. If you don't have that, get a new passport before you even think of booking your ticket. You're doing things backwards. Visas researched and applied for. Another rookie mistake that people fall into is the visa trap. If you're moving to somewhere like Thailand or Brazil, for example, which actually has moderately complex visa regulations for people to just move to, it's not an easy place where you can just go there and stay for a year, that's it. You have to have and abide by the visa rules, but you have to be actually aware of what the visa regulations and rules are in this new country I am deciding to go and move to. Bank accounts that actually work abroad. These are the bank accounts you need to have. If you're from the UK, you need a Revolut, right? The physical card and an online bank account is free, right? Or the mobile app bank account, should I say. You need a Wise account, and you need 2 to 3 other UK banks or UK / international banks. If you're from the States, Wise again you can use, Revolut again you can use, and 3 other alternative banking app platforms you have on your mobile and the physical card. You don't want to move to a new country with one bank card like an idiot, lose the bank card, or it gets eaten by an ATM, and now you're fucked and you cannot withdraw money in the new country you go to. In every country you go to, you're probably not going to have a local bank account because you're probably not going to stay there and register as a fucking resident. So therefore, you need to make sure that you are independent and you're able to maneuver through each and every country without any problems logistically. Imagine having all the money in the world, but you can't even cash it out because you're an idiot and you forgot your bank card. Make sure you're preparing yourself in the right way. And that leads me perfectly onto my next point. Insurance, health, and travel, which is a non-negotiable. If you are looking to get health insurance and travel insurance, it's not if, you need to get health and travel insurance, right? Don't be that person also who is looking to move abroad and then 1-2 accidents later, they're now incurring a hefty fine in a fucking hospital somewhere deep in Isan, Thailand with a massive hospital medical bill because they didn't have insurance. Go and sign up for Safety Wing. Safety Wing is the best travel and health insurance provider that you could ever use on your travels. For any average person, it will cost anywhere from 40 to 80 pounds a month, but it is 100%, 110% worth it if you're going to be stepping into this new paradigm, as in you're going to be traveling and moving abroad and living across the world full time. As you will see below, I've left you a link for you to go and actually apply and sign up, and you can even see if you can get a discount on that as well. But regardless, health insurance is a non-negotiable. Make sure you get it done. Bank accounts, minimum 4 bank accounts you need to have opened that can actually exchange cash whilst you're living abroad. And you want to make sure that in your passport you have minimum 1 to 2 years validity. This is all basic stuff. If you don't do the basic stuff, you're never going to sustain your lifestyle abroad. Other things that you should be thinking about doing as well is getting photocopy printouts of pictures of you, passport photos of you, as well as pictures of your passport and your driving license, just in case any scenario occurs where you need to give an actual document and you don't want to exchange your physical passport or your ID. Rookie stuff. Let's make sure you get all of this under the belt if you're really seriously looking to move abroad in the next 90 days. So the reasons why we do all this, right, and use this actual formula is because people obsess about where to live abroad. Where should I go? Bali? Should I go Bangkok? What about Rio, Florianopolis, Medellin, Santa Mata, Cartagena, all these places, right? Instead of how not to run out of money in any of the chosen countries I am desiring to go to and actually live in. Your runway is the difference between being forced to go back home and being able to stay abroad until you win. It makes relocation predictable instead of it being risky. And this is my point where I said at the start of this video, people have it the opposite way round. People are so focused. Don't be that person who's focused on where I want to go. Ask yourself, with the amount of money that you want to make or you are making, where can you go? You got big dreams to go to Dubai and live in a high-rise apartment, but you're not even making $5,000 a month online yet, so you're not going to Dubai. You should be looking at places that are better suited to your income and budget level, depending on what stage of online income you are at now. Am I saying that if you're making $2,000 a month, you have to stay home in the UK or America? No, I'm not saying that, but be realistic and plan your desired location of what your income dictates, not of where you want to go, right? We all have to start somewhere. I went to Thailand. I moved to Thailand because I knew it would be affordable and I knew that I could live there for cheap because I wasn't making any money at the time. Then once I built my income, I relocated to Brazil. Then I moved to Portugal. Now I'm back in Southeast Asia, and in 2-3 months I'm going to be going back to the Caribbean or back to Brazil because I can. You need to base your desired location off of your income level. Where can you afford to go, ego aside, and then you should go there. So the goal of this video was to help change your mindset from I'll figure it out once I get there to my 90-day runway is my ticket to stay abroad, not just book my ticket and leave abroad. Leaving somewhere and staying in a new place is two completely different things. Ask me any questions you have regarding this relocation episode in your one-to-one Discord support ticket and I'm more than happy to answer them. But if you are stuck on any single thing about what things you need to prepare and get ready for, and maybe you're stuck on where you should go, ping me in the support ticket and I will always help you. Don't be a Mark. Mark leaves for Thailand with 1.5k in savings, no income. He's gone in 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks of being there, he blows through his savings. He's staying in hostels, cheap hotels, and then he has to book his ticket back home to the UK, head in his hands, shit ton of memories. He's gone back home like an idiot. Or there's Alex. Alex is inside this program, took the time to learn an online high income skill, got himself onto an online closing role. He's given himself a 1.5k buffer, bank account sorted. He's got 4 different bank accounts. All of them have mobile apps, routines dialed in, never been more disciplined in his life. He's still abroad 18 months later. A year and a half later after moving abroad, he is someone who's able to sustain himself simply because he did it in the right way and was on the paradigm of a travelpreneur and not just a digital nomad. These are 2 examples of who you could be. Would you rather be a Mark or would you rather be an Alex? Same flight, different outcome. The runway and the lead up to them moving is the exact thing that made the difference and why their situations are completely different. So don't just buy a flight, build your runway. Because if you don't have 90 days of preparation, you do not have freedom, right? You have a holiday with an end date. If you do not build an online income moving abroad, you're literally on a ticking time bomb until you have to go back home again. Plan this correctly and do things in the right way. I'll see you in the next video. Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode inside the Core Travel Mastery Program. In this module, we're going to be going over your income vehicle mastery. How can you master which income vehicle you're going to use to get to your first 10k a month? How can you master which income vehicle is going to be the best one for you to use in order for you to go and relocate and move abroad and never have to go home? So in this episode, I'm actually just going to explain the 2 paths to achieving online and location freedom, right? I'm going to be breaking it down A to Z, what it is, what it means, the 2 different paths and which one would suit you depending on what stage you are inside your life. So let's begin. The 2 paths to online freedom. You see everyone online. Everyone's making money online, apparently. Every single person is making money online, apparently. Everybody looks like they're lit and they're living abroad and they're living that good lifestyle. It's all bullshit. First and foremost, what you need to do is block out the noise, yeah? Genuinely, the best thing that you can do is just block out all of the noise because there's so much noise in this online space. This person's doing this and this person's, looking like he's living the part. Doesn't even matter. Just focus on you and learning high income skill sets, which I'm gonna teach you inside this program that's gonna actually get you to where you want to be. Everything else is just noise. You can make 10K per month doing Amazon FBA, you can make 10K per month doing dropshipping, blah, 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 noise. The best two paths for you to achieve online and location freedom are online sales, high ticket sales, and building a personal brand and launching your own offer, running an online business. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. Online high ticket sales plus personal branding equals you will never ever go broke for the rest of your life. I guarantee it. The reason why I'm so convicted when I say that is because not only have I done it, have I learned two sides of the coin. I built a personal brand, which is why you're here today. I've learned high ticket sales, right? I'm telling you from experience that these are the two tried, battle-proof and tested routes, ways, methods for you to get to your goals. Because the truth is, you could do anything. You could be like, yeah, you know what, Ty, I want to go and do Etsy. You know what, Ty, I want to go and sell products on Depop. You could go and do anything. But if you are seriously looking to take this as a career and scale up in your online income, you need a solid method. You need a solid route, a solid vehicle that's going to get you to arrive at your chosen desired reality. High ticket sales and building an online offer. So the reasons why these two are the best, let me break them down and start with, let's start with an online offer. What is an online offer? An online offer is when you prioritize posting good content, quality content, and you've been able to attract an audience of people who like you, care about you, have positive synergy or energy towards you, right? And can learn from you, right? It's as simple as that. You just post content every single day. A lot of people in this space seem to overcomplicate things. It's not as difficult as you're making it out to be. The only reason you make it out to be difficult is because you haven't done it yet. Chances are maybe you post a little bit of content, but you get nervous, so because your fears come in, you just pussy out and just trick yourself out of your own spot. And you don't understand that Instagram alone could retire your family. It's really that real. Let me tell you something that is just the harsh truth about online income and personal branding. Personal branding will only keep you broke if you allow it to, right? There's so many creators out there right now who are making all this content and make no money. Broke influencer, I've been there myself. And since I decided to make a change and started learning the business behind content, this year alone, I've generated $300,000 all from my Instagram alone. Just from me posting content, documenting my life, hey guys, I'm in Vietnam, I'm in Thailand, whoop-de-woo, whatever it could be, right? Just by me making consistent content, I have generated $750,000 this year alone. Do you understand that? So when I say to you that building a personal brand is the #1 highest leverage thing you can do in your life, I'm right. You understand that? And whatever connotations you have about content as to the reason why you haven't posted content up until this point and you haven't taken it seriously up until this point, you are wrong. Do you understand that? You are wrong. I don't care what your reasons are, what you're going to tell me as to why you don't want to put, you are wrong. Content alone, one single social media platform alone, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, all of these individual platforms alone can retire your family. Do you understand that? All of these single platforms alone can make you 50K per month if you know how to use it. So what do I mean build an online offer? Ty, what is an online offer? Speak English, right? An online offer is simply when you have an offer that you sell to your audience. That's literally it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't worry about the vehicle. Don't think, oh, does it have to be in a Discord, or does it have to be a school community, or should it be a Slack, or should I be using this? An offer is when you have something to offer somebody, and if they buy it and say, yes, I want your offer, they will pay you to get access to it. It's as simple as that. You could have an offer, right, which is how to walk with better posture, how to sit up with better posture. That's an offer. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not as hard as you really make it to be. All an offer is having an audience, having people who are going through certain pain points, people who are going through certain things in their life, right? They're suffering from a problem. They need a solution to their problem. You present your offer as being a solution to the problem that person's facing. You present your offer or market your offer through your content. And I'm not saying every day you got to show up and do ads. Hey, welcome to my program. And you don't, just be yourself. I know I'm dumbing it down a lot. I'll get into the more complex things later on in this module. But just for this episode, I want you to just understand that making money online is really not difficult. It's just your mindset that is making it more difficult than it needs to be. Because you are stressed out when it comes to learning how to make money online, in your reality, you feel stressed and you're looking for more reasons to feel stressed. Making content is not difficult. Just pick up a camera and talk to your friend. The camera's not even there. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Making an online offer, putting a ticket price behind a certain amount of value that you're going to help and give to somebody to solve their problem and help them get from point A to point B. You're helping transform people's lives. Don't overcomplicate it, right? So in short, write this down. Building an online offer is just me helping solve somebody's problem through social media. That's literally all it is. Building an offer is literally just that. You're helping to solve someone's problem through content you would put out on social media. The way you deliver the offer is going to be different, and I'll tell you about that in later episodes. But all you need to understand is that is literally all an offer is. An offer is literally just you offering your hand out to help somebody and charging them for it. Why do you feel bad to charge someone for something? Why when I said charge, you had a certain feeling in your stomach? That doesn't make sense, bro. I thought you wanted to make money. Just because you have an offer doesn't mean to say it's a scam if you're actually delivering, which obviously you're going to deliver. But you need to change your connotations in the way you feel about selling, and the way you feel about building an offer, and the way you feel to market in your services, your program, your offer, your whatever it could be. That's all an offer is. I'll get into the more complex stuff later on in this module, but I just want you to understand the two single paths to making money online and achieving online or location freedom. First one is always going to be building an offer. If you just what would happen right now for the next 30 days, you just documented everything that you did? What would happen if you just made one reel a day? Just one reel a day. You just posted on Instagram, documenting day 1, right, of me going to the gym every single day. Here's day 7 of my day in the life as a da-da-da-da-da, right? If you just documented your journey for the next 30 days, what would happen? I'll tell you what would happen. You'd build an audience of hundreds of people who are interested in watching your journey because they aspire to have your lifestyle, because they want to live like you, and for whatever reason, they're not able to have the confidence to do the same things that you're doing, aka sharing your journey on social media. As a byproduct of you posting daily content, you'd be able to resonate with the audience that you'd gain, and these people would be able to trust, like, and know you on the back of the content that you'd be putting out on social media every single day. As a result, they would message you inbound on your DMs on Instagram, asking you questions and asking for your help, because they can visually see that you're solving a problem for yourself that they also suffer with. They're problem aware, and now your content is making them solution aware. They're going to come and ask you for help, and all you need to do at that point is literally just draft up an offer and sell it to these people who are already looking for your help. That's it. That is literally all that it means to go and build an offer and sell to somebody on social media. Don't overcomplicate it. And the last thing I want to say before I move on to the high ticket sales side of things is that you do realize that the natural progression of anybody who's in a high ticket sales space anyways is to go and build their own offer. How many people do you know, or you might not know? There are so many people who have become killer closers, killing it in the high ticket sales space. And what do they do next? They go and build an offer. What do they do next? They go and post content, because they understand, even people who have chosen the second path of going to build a, go and build a sales career, going and getting into setting, being an SDR, high ticket sales, whatever it could be. The only natural next step after doing that is launching their own offer. So therefore they will need to utilize social media. They need to utilize a personal brand. I don't need to come and sell you and convince you on why you should build a personal brand. I'm here to tell you that if you don't go and build a personal brand, you will cap your income and you will get left behind. I don't care if you only want to do online sales. I don't care if you want to be behind the scenes and don't want to post content. I'm telling you, you are literally tricking yourself out of money simply because you're too scared to go and post a 40-second reel. You're too scared to go and get disagreed with some random person who disagrees with your Instagram reel and comments a hateful comment underneath your post, who you're never going to meet in the entirety of your life. You have the chance to build generational wealth just by being known. Why would you trick yourself out of that position just because you're too scared of what people have to think, or just because you don't deem it as important? If you had 10,000 people who are following you and 100 people DMing you every 2 days asking you questions, I guarantee you would see it as important, because you're seeing the actual opportunity cost that lies. Imagine if your offer is only £1,000 and you had 100 people reach out to you in a month. You get on call with 60 of them, you close 25 of them. That's 25K. Why wouldn't you want to go and make money? It's just silly. Go and post content, and this is the prerequisite to online sales, which is understanding how to build a personal brand, which can help you in the online sales route for one, or launch your own offer so you can build an online business just by being known. Now the next one, high ticket sales. What is high ticket sales? High ticket sales is simply you learning the skill of sales. You've already probably worked a job which has some form of sales. You woke up today, right, and spoke to someone. You might have spoke to your girlfriend, your boyfriend. You might have spoke to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, the missus, whoever it could be, family, friends, right, your manager. And if you had to ask or persuade them to do something, if you went into work today and had to persuade your manager why you should get an extra half an hour off of lunch, or why you deserve to go and work from home, or you had to persuade your friends on why you wanted to go Nando's after work and not go KFC, or persuade your friend to go to the gym, that's sales, bro. You are selling. Do you understand that? You are selling. Online, high ticket sales. Don't overcomplicate it by these buzzwords. Oh, high ticket, online, sales. I don't know. All it is you being able to actually help someone and enable transformation in the person's life that you're choosing to help. And you're just charging high ticket prices to do that. So you might work on an offer. Let me give you an example. And this is where the personal branding and online offer stuff and high ticket sales comes into play, because you can't have one without the other. Someone has built an online personal brand. They have 100,000 followers, right? They are a fitness coach. They sell 6-month fitness programs to overweight 9-to-5 men. They charge £4,000 for a 6-month program inside their coaching offer. Fitness. This person has 100,000 followers. They're getting 100 DMs a day. They're getting 50 sales calls booked in per week. Do you think that person has enough time, the offer owner who's focused on content because he has his own online offer and because he has his own personal brand? Do you think he has enough time to go and nurture all these conversations, booking calls, send out Calendly links, send sales assets, post call booking flow? Do you think he has time for all that? No, he doesn't. Do you equally think he has time to go and sit down for 50 hours and take 50 sales calls in a span of 7 days? No, he doesn't. So at that point, he'll hire an online sales team to come and help him with the sales process in order to fulfill his clients and actually onboard clients into his business. That's all it is. If he's charging £4,000, he needs someone who's a DM setter, appointment setter, who's on his Instagram, on his social media, talking to these leads, pretending to be him, booking them in for a call, sending them assets, helping them understand why they need to make a change now and lose weight. That's a job in itself. That's an online sales role within itself. Then once they've booked in the call and it's a Tuesday, 7 p.m., it's time to get on the call for them to get closed and join and get onboarded. Now that's a sales call. He might not take all 50 of those sales calls, so he might hire a closer whose job is literally to just only take sales calls every single day on behalf of this guy's offer who has 100,000 followers. And if the offer's £4,000, the closer might take 10%, which is £400 in an hour, and the appointment setter might take 5%, which is £200 every time that the closer closes the deal. That's all it is. High ticket sales doesn't need to be any more complicated than you need it to be. All it is sales in the online space. Think about how many people have an online offer. Think about how many people have an online business on the back of their personal brand. These people do not all have time to nurture leads, book them in for appointments, get them on sales calls, handle their objections, close them, get them onboarded. So that's where the new opportunities get created for you to go and make an online income. High ticket sales is the most stable path, as well as building an online offer and building a personal brand, to get to 10K per month, easy. You get yourself on a solid offer that is doing good numbers, right, and good opportunity for growth. You can easily see yourself making 10K per month if you are the right person. But if you're weak-minded and you're watching this thinking anything is a get-rich-quick scheme, I don't know why you're here, because it's not that, and you know it's not that. High-ticket sales can only exist in a world where they have offer owners, which means for you to be an offer owner, you need a way to market. For you to market, you need to build a personal brand. So can you see the synchronicity here? Personal branding and high-ticket sales are just two different sides of the same coin. Building an online offer. You can't build an online offer without a personal brand. You can't be in a high ticket sales role without being on someone's offer who has a personal brand. They both go hand in hand. This is the exact reason why I'm telling you this is the two most stable way for you to be able to go and quit your 9-to-5 job, leave your home country, scale up in your online income through either of these two, right? Because there's no one without the other. You can't launch an online offer without learning high ticket sales anyways, because you need to be able to sell on your own offer. You can't get into a high ticket sales role as a closer, as an SDR, as an appointment setter if that person who owns the actual offer doesn't already have a personal brand. They both go hand in hand, and that is the exact reason why I'm explaining to you that the two best ways or the two best paths for you to achieve freedom is through high ticket online sales or through building your own online offer, building a personal brand. So this episode, I hope this helped. I know it did, because there was a lot of value. I just wanted to explain to you the A to Z of the two best paths for you to go down if you're really looking to scale and build an online income, right? See you in the next video. Let's jump in, man. So for this session today, like I said, weekly input, right? I want to be talking about how being unpleasant will make you a better person, right? What do I actually mean by that? Rashid's probably watching this thinking, what do you mean I have to be a prick? But me being a prick will mean that I'm a better person overall. That doesn't really make sense. That's a juxtaposition. What do you mean, right? So let's jump straight in. So the first thing that I'm going to say, being pleasant is pussy, right? I'm going to start off by saying that standard. Yeah, Saki, go write that now. Being pleasant is pussy, right? The reason why I'm saying that is because you need to understand that pleasantness within itself is a social lubricant. It is not a path to power, right? As human beings, as men coming from the UK, right, where there's a war on masculinity, there's a war on testosterone. AO, before he joined this network, thought it was cool to just not go gym for 4 months. What is that? That's passiveness, right? We've been programmed to think that it's okay to associate being pleasant and passive with it being a positive and good thing for our life. But what you need to understand is that real progress requires tension, right? All of you felt tension when you joined this program. Jamie felt tension when he's been, putting in the work and the hours, hopping in so many role plays he can't even count on his fingers, right? That requires some tension. Does it get easier over time? Yes, but he was growing. So what he's doing during that stage of growth, it requires friction. Let's look at Rashid, for example. Rashid's been locking in, filling out the accountability forms, right? That's friction.
He finishes his day at uni, comes home, locks in a couple hours of study, feels like the accountability form. That literally requires him to go through a period of friction because it's long and difficult to do these things. It's long and difficult to get constructive criticism. It is long and it's difficult for AO the other day to hop on his first roleplay call when he doesn't really know shit about shit. That's friction right there, because that's a literal physical representation that we're all going under a stage of growth. Does that make sense? Dave, your mission is to make money. Your mission is to move abroad. Your mission is to go and transform your life, right? So your pleasantness, you just being a nice, all-round nice guy, makes you a fucking liability, bro, because it makes you weak. Does that make sense? What you need to understand is that for Jamie to be this person who's hopping on these sales calls, getting comms every day, he can't be someone who's just madly agreeable. He can't be a yes man. We've all heard of the quote, a yes man. We all have friends right now who are yes men as well. Why are they broke? Why don't they get anywhere? Why are they not in shape? Because they say yes to everything other than the thing that is directly going to help them push forward their life. Does that make sense? I'm telling you first, bro, in your life, every single one of you needs to be selfish. I'm a big believer that you can't be selfless until you first become selfish. The reason why every single one of you here on this call is because you're selfish about your success. You're selfish about your life and getting to where you want to be. So you're willing to put yourself first. You're willing to go forward for opportunity. When Govinda goes and posts all these different online sales roles in the chat, Jamie's not thinking, oh my God, let me just wait an hour because, you know, maybe Nathan wants to apply. Or let me just not apply and put my loom forward because maybe Saki wants to. I'm going to give him a chance. Jamie's thinking, fuck these dons, respectfully. They're my boys in that, but I want to eat. I want to make money. So he's being unpleasant. Him being pleasant is now, oh my God, let me just give it 1 hour and come back to it because I want to let Rashid and Ayo and Saki go to apply for rock. That's bullshit. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We all live in a dog eat dog world, not just sales. Fuck sales, bro. You wake up every day, you sniff air, bro. You breathe in air. That's a dog eat dog world right there, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Every single one of you on this call, do you realize it? Yeah, we're all playing the same game. Every single one of you boys right now is trying to provide for your family and make more money than the other person. That's it. Yes, money's abundant. Yes, money gets printed every single day. But Ayo's here because he wants that role that Saki wants. Rashid's here and applying to a role and getting in the gym and trying to better himself because he wants to take that new AI automation offer that's a dialer with a 5K OTE, the same one that Dave's putting in a loom to apply for as well. That's the world we live in. So if you're coming into life, forget sales, if you're coming into life with this mentality whereby I'm just going to be pleasant and, you know, gay, you're not going to get the results that you want in life, or you're not going to get to be the person that you want to become in life. Does that make sense? Being pleasant means conforming. Being pleasant means avoiding conflict. Saki, how long of your life until you join this network have you been, you know, the universe giving you so many opportunities, right, to do what you want to do, but you didn't even end up going that route because you were scared of having conflict? How many times has your family told you to do something that you didn't want to do, but because you wanted to avoid a brief little 10-minute argument with your dad, mum, or brother, you just shut up and did it? Do you know what I mean? How many times when you're out with your friends, AO, for example, right, you're doing all these little things to try and be the same as them and seek their validation because you don't want to be shunned out of the group. So you don't want to go out, you don't want to go and get drunk and crash it, but you just end up taking a drink anyway because peer pressure ends up. Do you know what I mean? How many times in you lot's life, for example, have you already countless times you spent conforming, right? Avoiding conflict because it's easier to just be pleasant rather than be unpleasant and be selfish to you and your goals and get to where you want to be. And you've ended up by default seeking validation. I can pick on all of you right now and tell you to come off mute. You can give me four or five examples over the last 3 to 6 months minimum when all of you have done things to avoid conflict. All of you have done things to conform because it's easy. And all of you have done some form of validation seeking. And it's only really got you thus far until you decided to join here and now your life really changed. Does that make sense? Let's move forward, man. Oh my God, this is going to be a heavy session. Discipline is aggressive. You understand that? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Discipline is not motivation, right? Actually, let me even stop there. Ayo, come off of me, bro. What is discipline? What does discipline mean to you in your head, bro? Enlighten me.
It's kind of sticking to the plan rather than sticking to how you feel and like doing what you actually have to do rather than doing what you feel like doing. And it's kind of having the self-control to be able to say, this is what I need to do. I need to do it now, rather than just procrastinating and leaving it for a later time.
Stop saying bruv. But other than that, Other than that, I agree completely with what you're saying, bro. Rashid, jump in on that. Do you have a different opinion on what discipline is? Ayo came in strong, apart from the arms. What's your opinion on discipline, Rashid? Chat to us.
My opinion's a bit similar to Ayo's. So I think discipline is just doing what you know you need to do without having any excuses or going against that or procrastinating, like he said. Whereas motivation is kind of you'll do it when you feel like doing it. But discipline is you're going to do it regardless of what you feel.
Love it. I love that. Good boys. Discipline is not motivation, but we already know it. We already knew that already, right? What discipline is, by my definition, yeah, Ty Valley's definition of discipline is the exertion of will against impulse. All of you boys wake up every day. Well, no, did you? I hope all of you boys wake up every single day, bro. High testosterone, wanting to just go and chill in bed all day, fucking busting nut in bed, soccer and Vaseline. But that's that willpower that you're not exerting, which is going to be like, I'm not doing that because that's just fucking gay. I'm not 12 anymore. Yeah, I'm going to wake up, go to the gym. I'm going to go make some money. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go fuck my girl rather than just be here bashing in bed or doing some low vibrational shit. Does that make sense? Discipline is the exertion of will against impulse. You have a certain impulse, your desires, your sexual desires that come out, your things that you want to do to keep you in a state of laziness, right? Or sloth, for example, but it's your exertion of will. I'm telling myself, I'm going to do this. Saki says to himself, I don't want to go and do dialing today, but I'm going to wake up and start dialing today. Discipline, literally, let's not even look at it from the physical standpoint, yeah, but what's around us. You see this nice little painting, that ain't discipline. Discipline is up here. Discipline is spiritual warfare, right? It's between your higher mind and your lower instinct. Who was on this call last week, Wednesday, when I went over the different states of consciousness and I spoke about the different chakra points? A couple of you were still here for that session. Yeah. And in that session, I showed 8 different chakra points and showed how most human beings only operate from lower chakra points. They operate from their solar plexus. They operate from a state of their limbic brain, animalistic mind frame. Does that make sense? They're only just acting straight off of impulse, right? How many of you in your past, for example, right, wanted to go and chill out, so you just went to smoke weed? That's just impulse, bro, right? Because you didn't have the discipline to exert your will in a certain way. Does that make sense? Right? It's not just mental. Dave, I'm talking to you. It's biological exertion. Every single act of your resistance, right, literally rewires your brain. Do you understand that? Every single time you want to go and do something, but you say, no, I'm not going to go and do it, you're literally rewiring your brain. Do you understand that? Right? You're rewiring your dopamine circuits, reshaping your actual nervous system in your body to obey with your intent instead of your impulses. Do you understand that? So when I say, oh, Ayo, you got to go and be a disciplined person, you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be disciplined. But what I'm actually saying to you when I say you need to become more disciplined, I'm saying I want you to change the side. I want you to change the biology of your brain. I want you to change how your brain is wired. That's what someone said. So when you look at Reese, and he might not have half the discipline, the level of discipline that Saki does, or Ayo has a bit more discipline than Nathan does, or Zach does, you literally have different brains, because Reese's brain in this example might be weak, right? He hasn't, rewired his dopamine circuits yet. So for him, he feels a stronger temptation to stay in bed all day, snooze the alarm, make excuses, go and smoke a cigarette, go and smoke weed, skip the gym, not have confidence compared to Rashid, compared to Ayo. Because these people who are more disciplined than you, all they've been able to do is rewire the circuits in their brain better than you have. Does that make sense, boys? So whenever you think about being disciplined, it's not just like, oh my God, I'm going to wear this discipline cape today. I'm just going to be more disciplined. No, it's not that at all. You're literally fighting to rewire your brain. So every time Dave wakes up, gets out of the shower, looks at himself in the mirror, he's literally fighting with himself to rewire his brain in a different way. That's going to make it easier for you to be in line with the person you want to become. Dave asked me a question last week. He said, bro, I just feel like I'm not really as I ain't really, do you know what I mean? I find it difficult to go after it. Maybe I'm not as disciplined as I was. So what he was really saying is he was just admitting, right, that his brain's not wired correctly at this point in time. But now he's aware of that problem, he's going to go and solve that problem. Does that make sense? Every single thing that you see on the physical, you look at someone who's disciplined, you look at someone who's in shape. Ayo's looking at that boy he goes to the gym with, who's hench, he's wham, he's got a six-pack. Cool, you're looking at the external stuff, but what you should be thinking is, rah, I wonder how this fucker managed to rewire his brain in a way that I am yet to do. Nathan's thinking, rah, that person I know who I see all the time, who's running past my road with a weighted jacket, going on a 10K run, a 5K run, how has he been able to rewire his brain, and what can I do to rewire my brain in the same manner? Does that make sense? Let's look at metaphysics, right? The modern dopamine economy, notifications, YouTube content, binge eating, food, porn, all this type of low vibrational bullshit, yeah, has softened your biological edge. Do you understand that? Why do all of you, why is it that all of you like, yeah, like, I'm like mama, you either like me or you hate me, both ways, I don't give a fuck, yeah? The reason why I am the way I am is because of the way I've rewired my brain. Does that make sense? And that's the energy I'm carrying forward inside to all of you boys with this network. Why is it that I'm on to everybody so much about fitness? Because fitness is a perfect example of inputs you can do to rewire your brain. So when Saki goes to gym and he does some bag session, and one of his boys goes with him and brings some gloves and they do a sparring round, and Saki gets a busted fucking lip, that's a physical example of how he's going to go and rewire his brain to become a more disciplined individual, which is going to carry over to him dialing. Because if he can stay in the ring on his third round, he's mad tired, he needs to go for a piss, and he just got punched in the fucking bladder, but he can, you know, find it within him to rewire his brain to continue going and pushing on. When Saki has a bad month and misses his comms, what's he going to do? Cry about it or carry on? He's going to carry on. He's already rewired his brain in that manner. Does that make sense? So for you boys thinking, Zach, I was on to you 10 minutes ago, bro. This guy has a pull-up bar in his house and I ain't seen him in the fitness channel once. Bro's walking downstairs when other boys are walking 20 minutes to fucking build it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's because I'm expecting you to rewire your brain in a certain manner to manifest the results that you want. If you can't even go and do 20 pull-ups in a single day downstairs in your garage, that's a part of your house, semi-detached house, how are you expecting to get your first 5K month? Like Enoch, for example. It's not happening. Do you know what I mean? Let's look at this, man. Discipline is alchemy, right? Discipline is alchemy. Reese, jump off of mute quickly. I'm using some big boy words, 3-syllable words with them things there. What does alchemy mean, my friend? What is alchemy?
I'm not sure.
Have a crack, man. Have a crack.
What is it? Alchemy?
Alchemy.
Never heard that word in my life.
All right. Hands don't need to sweat any longer. Dave, come off with me. What's alchemy, my boy?
I don't know what the definition is, but if I'm to guess, maybe something to do with chemistry. No, I don't know.
You know, them boys there during chemistry, you know, and that, rating. Hey, yo, what's alchemy, my boy? Don't say I am.
No clue.
Fair play. Nathan?
If I had to take a guess, I'd say it's being able to bring things into harmony with a particular thing, like two things into harmony. Is that right?
Well, we'll see. I like that, though. At least you gave it a crack. You know what I mean? At least you gave it a crack. Alchemy, right, is simple. Alchemy is the process of transformation, creation, or combination. Write this down, boys, because I'm going to come back to this towards the end of the session. We'll see who's really been listening. Alchemy is the process of transformation, creation, or combination. Hi, I joined this network to learn online sales and make peace. Why are you speaking Chinese? Speak fucking English. All right, let me speak English, yeah? What alchemy is simply you being in the process of change. Do you understand, without knowing it, that every single one of you boys right now are in a process of alchemy? You're in a process of transformation. You're in a process of creating a better life for yourself. You're in the process of combining the knowledge that you've learned from me, from the network, from other boys, and from the roles that you've been on, combining it with your hunger, your desire, your will and reason for success to create your desired reality. Does that make sense? Let's not overcomplicate it. AO right now is in alchemy, right? Because he's in the process of transforming his whole life. Reese is in alchemy because he's in the process of quitting his full-time job and going full-time into online sales and fucking off the fucking Savannah Bhumi, Bangkok, Thailand. You're all in the process of alchemy right now. So how does alchemy tie in back to discipline? Again, Tyler, with these big syllable words I don't understand, speak English. Yeah, discipline is alchemy. Because when you become a disciplined person, when Saki wakes up and says, you know what, I'm more disciplined than the boys downstairs who are, you know what I mean, thinking they're going to have a freshers party. Fuck that, I'm waking up at 6 a.m., I'm getting 5 eggs, 10 push-ups, and I'm dialing. Yeah? What that means is Saki's going to be turning his raw energy, his desire for a better life, into directed force to then create the lifestyle that he wants for himself. Every single thing starts in here. Starts with energy, starts with desire. John's been talking to me in the support channel and saying that this month he's going to make the most amount of money he's ever fucking made. And I said, yes, you fucking are going to do that, right? And the reason why is because what? He's now in a greater state of alchemy. John has said to himself that he wants to turn this raw energy he has, this big desire, this burning desire that John has to be living in Colombia, making $8.5 grand a month, no longer having to pick up a fucking clipper and give a random brother a skin fade. He's trying to turn that energy, that desire he has, into direct force to create his life. You know what I'm trying to say? Living in Medellin with the family and with the Pisces. Does that make sense? Every single one of you are in a process of alchemy. But like I said before, it's dog eat dog. Reese doesn't even understand that every single new person who joins the network is just more people competing for the same spot that Reese wants. Do you know what I'm saying? Saki's out here competing with Rashid. So who really has the biggest level of alchemy? It all depends on who has the biggest desire, who's got the most amount of energy and desire to get towards their desired reality. It's as simple as that. Why is it that some boys join a network and within their first week get onto a role and are just killing it and going for it? And why is it that some don't? Do you know what I mean? It's because, you know, I can't force anyone to have desire. I spoke about this last session as well. I can't tell you why you should be hungry. I know why I'm fucking hungry, because my mum still works a 9-to-5 job. My mum still goes into the office 2-3 days a week. My mum's got some dickhead manager called Kate telling my mum how many days she's got, you know, off holiday leave. What the fuck is that? My mum's a queen, bro. She deserves to be living in the Caribbean. She deserves her own fucking island. Point. Period. Do you know what I mean? That's my desire. That's why I've got my alchemy. AOYDU. Do you know what I mean? Is your desire really as big as you say it is? And if the answer is yes, are you willing to do what's necessary to turn that energy and desire into directed force to create the lifestyle that AO wants? Do you really want it as bad as you say you want it? Though? Only you will know. You don't have to answer. Cool. You transmute chaos into structure through repetition and command. Got to shoot, boys, in a bit, Lennon, my boy. Make sure you watch the replay, yeah? You transmute chaos into structure through repetition, and command. What does that mean? Brother, speak. What does that mean? What that means is you transmute chaos into structure through repetition and command. All of you boys right now, fuck the presentation. All of you boys right now, yeah? You want to better your life. You want to start making more money, right? You're waking up early. Reese is trying to wake up at 6:30. People in his house aren't really waking up that early. Friends on Snapchat are talking shit. Girlfriend giving him a distraction. Managers being a prick. Not making the amount of money that he wants to be making. Your life looks like chaos, bro. Life around you looks like it's chaos. So what you need to do is create order amongst the chaos. Why is it that everyone's life decides to get worse before it gets better? Because the universe is testing you. Do you understand that, Dave? The universe is testing you, bro. You got onto an offer the other week and they let you go. You're still trying to look for the clues. Where's Wally? Why did I get locked as well? Fuck that. Who cares? The universe is testing you. Do you really want it? The universe is giving you chaos and expecting you to turn your chaos into order. Does that make sense? The universe is expecting you to build your routine, expecting you, like you've done. Shout out you. You should have said this when I said who's got a win, because you stopped smoking weed and cigarettes, but that's a fucking win. Yeah, put some dubs in the chat for Dave. The universe is expecting you to create more order out of your perceived reality, which might look like chaos. Does that make sense? Life doesn't just get easier and just, you know, you say you want to make more money, so the universe just dropped the fucking 10K stripe link on your lap. Life don't work like that. Things are going to get worse in your reality before it gets better. Saki's first week dialing, I guarantee it. His first week dialing and being on this offer, you probably had more distractions than you probably ever had in your life. Friends all of a sudden out of nowhere now we're asking to come out. You're meeting new people. You see a painting in the gym. She's asking to go on a date. And you're like, oh, fuck's sake, do I really want to be stuck in my room for 4.5 hours dialing some random Steve from fucking Minnesota in America, right? But you have to create order through the chaos in your life to get to the results that you actually want. Stay with me, boys. Am I making sense? I want to see some nods. Yeah, calm. So let's take it up a notch, because I've been doing metaphysical then. Now we're going to jump into psychological then. Yeah? Neuroplasticity. Oh my gosh, bro. He's been reading. You know what I mean? Rashid, come off with mute. What does neuroplasticity mean, my good sir?
It's something to do with your brain being able to change over time.
What the fuck does that mean?
So like, when you start doing new things or you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, it rewires your brain to kind of find it not more comfortable, but find it easier to do. So next time you're doing something out of your comfort zone, your brain is rewired, so it's easier for you to go and do that thing.
Bro's putting that sports chemistry degree to good use. I love it, my boy. Nice. Cool. Neuroplasticity. 6-syllable words in that, man. I'm proud of myself. Neuroplasticity, yeah, is repeated self-command or exertion of will. So let's break it down into plain level English. I said before, Nathan, let me test you. What did I say that discipline is before? My definition of discipline.
The exertion of will over
Love it.
your current desires.
Love it. He's been listening. Yeah. So neuroplasticity then is repeated self-command or discipline, because discipline is just the exertion of will. You're forcing yourself to do something against what you want to do, against your desire. So neuroplasticity is repeated self-command or discipline, which reshapes the prefrontal cortex. All right, I've got a picture to show you what the prefrontal cortex is. Right, Reese is probably thinking, what the fuck is that? Speak English. Yeah. The seat of future orientation and long-term decision making. Every time you resist an impulse, every time Rashid wants to do something, he wants to just go and crash it because his boys are going out for a party on a Saturday and he wants to go and grab a bag of Langtings and the Prism or Watford. You know what I'm trying to say? Every time he has the desire or the impulse to go and do this, right? But he resists and says, no, me doing that doesn't align with the version of myself that's making $6 a month, and I'm the only person in my whole first year uni students that's making this amount of money. None of these authorities are doing that. Do you know what I mean? I am. Yeah. Every time Rashid thinks like that and does that, he strengthens the muscle that controls his destiny. The reason why I say that is because your prefrontal cortex, right? This is your brain. So as you can see on the screen, behind Dave's big forehead, I'm joking, but behind any of you lot's fucking forehead, yeah, this is what lies behind. This is the brain. Prefrontal cortex, dorsolateral, ventrolateral, orbifrontal, right? Premotor cortex, your motor brain, right? Your brain can be split up into different segments like this. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and then number 4. There's that different functions within your brain and what your brain is being used for. Does that make sense, Ayo? These are different, like your brain has almost mini brains within one bigger brain. Does that make sense? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because you need to understand that your prefrontal cortex, right? So the reason when I got my braids plaited like this, my forehead looks fucking massive, is because I've got a big ass prefrontal cortex. So what that means, right, is it's crucial, right? This part of my brain, my prefrontal cortex, write this down, is crucial for executive functions like planning, decision making, impulse control, and it shapes Reese's personality, and it also shapes Saki's social behavior. Jump in, Nathan.
I wanted to ask, so what activities and practices either can shrink it, but also what opposite to that, what increases it, what makes it bigger, what can you do to train it?
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Over here, bro. So this is how it's linked. Neuroplasticity. So every single time you resist an impulse, literally says it here, you strengthen the muscle that controls your destiny. So cool, I'm using some nice magical terms, but what I'm really trying to say, every time you want to do something, you feel the urge to do something that doesn't align with your future self, and you resist doing it. You don't go to that party, right? You leave that Snapchat group chat. You delete the whole fucking Snapchat app. You want to go and, play PlayStation, and instead you're going to read a book. You strengthen your prefrontal cortex. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Love it. What an amazing question, good sir. I love that. I really do love that. Yeah? Cool. Ayo, what's a prefrontal cortex?
It's the part of your brain that's responsible for like planning, decision making, and yeah, basically controls your destiny.
What is one thing that you can do to strengthen your prefrontal cortex?
Resist impulses, so impulse control.
What is one thing you've learned so far over the past 31 minutes and 12 seconds that you can directly apply to your life and your situation?
Still the impulse control, and like, I guess practicing resisting things that I want to do, or like any impulses that come to me, in order to rewire my brain and make it more natural for me to not do that thing.
Love it. Chat to me, Dave. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah. Just to add on to a little bit more, because I've looked up about this prefrontal cortex stuff in my own time as well. Apparently, activities that give you easy dopamine, they can rub out your prefrontal cortex, such as scrolling, video games, etc. You guys know what it is. And an activity that's really, really good for developing your prefrontal cortex is playing chess. I'd recommend that one to anyone. I've started that a lot lately.
Love it. Does anyone here play chess? Actually, that's a very good point. When I was last living here in Brazil, I used to go to a chess club, and I'm just going back to a chess club. I just got into a group chat. I'm going to be doing a chess tournament with some old Brazilian dons. I'm going to slap them up on the board. Who else plays chess? Don't hands up.
How does that develop your life?
It develops your prefrontal cortex, because in chess, you have to be very meticulous, bro. You have to, if you're not paying attention, if you're not 100% in the moment, if you're not looking at every possibility, if you're not thinking in 3 or 4 different ways, paying attention, bro, you're gonna lose the game. I don't know how to explain it to you. You have to really play the game yourself to see how it develops your focus and your attention and your decision making. Because in chess, you have to take 100% accountability for your actions. If you lose, it's all on you. It's down to your decision making.
Now, do you refer to essentially thinking ahead and like thinking about every possible outcome possible? Like, is that what you're trying to say?
Kind of, yeah. And it's also about being very careful not to make mistakes. Because if you're making multiple mistakes, then you're going to lose the game. But over time, you're training your brain to not make these silly mistakes. Or, you know what, you really have to play the game to understand what I'm trying to say, really, yeah.
I completely get what you're trying to say, brother. And I can also concur with your point because I also play chess as well. The points that I just highlighted here, let's even make it more simpler than that, John, for you to understand. The prefrontal cortex, this part of your brain, is crucial for doing functions like planning, decision making, and impulse control. When you play chess, you have to plan your next move. You have to be a decision maker and know exactly what move you're going to take next. And sometimes when your position doesn't look great, or this person's put his pawn or his rook forward and you see an immediate move, you have to handle that impulse and say, maybe I shouldn't make this move right now because I can do something else later. So just based off those 3 examples, you can see how it completely aligns with the motions of the prefrontal cortex. Does that make sense, John?
Yes, and I have a personal question now. How could I use my prefrontal cortex in my specific situation?
How can you use it? How can John use his prefrontal cortex in your specific situation? So you're a business owner, bro. You're trying to scale to your first 5-figure month profit solely from your online coaching business off the back of your personal brand, right? You need to make more decisions, right? And you need to eliminate decision fatigue throughout your day. What do I mean by that, right? You need to make it easier every single day that you wake up to make the least amount of decisions as possible so that the decisions you make in business are going to be sharper. So what I mean by that is, when people tell you that you should plan your day the night before, so it's that when I wake up at 6 a.m., I don't have to think and decide what to do. Imagine decision making is like a bottle of water, boys, yeah? And every single time you make a decision, you pour a little bit of water out of the bottle. So by the end of the day, John, or when you're on a call, a coaching call, or you're doing some work or a 3-hour work block, your bottle's like basically empty. So you're not going to be making the strongest decisions because you've already decided what you're going to eat, where you're going to go, what time you're going to leave, what clothes you're going to wear, what fucking boxes to put on. Does that make sense? Try and eliminate and minimize the amount of decisions that you make in a day.
So this is for everyone. So you guys don't know, so I trained, right? And there was a study on the brain and on humans, and it says that the human can only, listen to this here, you can only make 1 to 2 emotional decisions per day. So apparently that's a fact, right? So I forgot where I read that, or I heard it in an audiobook. So you can make only 1 to 2 emotional decisions per day. So I think that also relates back to what you were just saying as well, about if you have to make a decision on, well, should I go out to eat with this person today? Should I don't know, go reach out to this client to make money? No, like, just gotta have that planned already. Is that what you're trying to get at?
100%. All of you should try and eliminate the amount of decisions that you have to make every single day. So little things, like how many of you wake up and actually think about what fucking clothes you're gonna wear? That's just stupid. Just plan that shit out the night before. You might think it's small, but it's one less decision you have to make because you don't realize that it's draining water from the bottle, aka the amount of energy you have to make good, strong decisions. Just like John backed up my point and said that AO doesn't even know he's only got 2 emotional decisions that he can make per day. Right? So why are you kind of affecting the amount of strength in your decisions based off of silly things like what time you're going to go gym or what time you should leave the house or what you're going to cook today? These small little things you don't realize is coming into play and affecting your productivity. Does that make sense? I love it. I love these sessions so much, man. Oh my God. Cool. Let's move forward. Rest is work. What do you mean by that, G? Right? Rest is work. Without rest, discipline becomes self-destruction. And I'm telling you, from someone who suffered from this my whole life up until this year, I promise you, you need to rest, bro. Without rest, Dave, I'm going to come to you in 2 minutes. Without rest, discipline literally becomes self-destruction. And here's the reason why. High performers, I would say that I'm a high performer, yeah? We often mistake exhaustion for effort. How many of you boys share the same paradigm as me and Reese thinks, raw, I've been working for 12 hours today. I've put in some fucking work. And yeah, I've had a massive week. I've got 100 tasks done. I've put in some work. We all probably think like that and think that the level of effort we put in is based on the number of tasks or the actual strength of the task. Does that make sense? But it's so far from the truth, bro. Discipline draws from your physiological and psychological reserves. Cortisol. Who knows what cortisol is, right? The chemical behind stress, attention, and emotional bandwidth, right? When you don't recover or rest, right, your nervous system enters a state of threat. You become irritable and you lose your creativity, you lose your creative intuition, right? Which is going to be harmful when you go back to do the work that you want to do, right? So my point being here, am I saying that you should just slack off and not put in the work? No, I'm not saying that. Rashid and Dave are probably going to ask me the question, yeah, but Ty, how can I rest when I'm trying to get onto a role and I know I have to be in the trenches and I know I have to be dialing for 4 to 6 hours a day? I completely understand that and I get that. We're all busy. I run a business, bro. I'm busy. John's busy. We're all fucking busy. All of your parents are just as busy, bro. Right? My point being is that part of that busyness, you need to consciously mark out time to do nothing, to go for a walk and listen to a podcast, right? To go and sit down and relax yourself for half an hour, to go and journal and reflect on your day. And Reese is going to ask himself pen to paper, how was my actual day today? To actually mark an hour in your, how many of you mark an hour in your calendar to actually just chill and maybe watch TV? Even if you watch some educational shit, even if you study this program, just rest, relax a little bit. Don't physically or mentally strain yourself, right? Because what you don't understand is that that rest time you're having is equally as important for when you feel like you're working. Rest is work. When Reese is not dialing, when Reese is, who can I give? When Nathan, for example, I'm picking on Nathan and Lennon because they just got on an offer the other day. When they're not doing dials and they're sitting down an hour before bed and just watching some YouTube, their brain's now going to start to get ideas. Let me give you a perfect example, yeah? And after this, Dave, we're going to go and then Rashid after, yeah? How many of you boys end up getting random ideas in the shower? Think about it. I know. How many of you just in the shower, bro, fucking scrubbing your back, okay? Yeah, doing what you got to do. And then before you know it, bro, you just get some random idea. Oh, yeah, I need to go and do this. You get a random idea. You know what I'm saying? Ayo's nodding because you know I'm talking facts. And why is that? It's because your body's in a state of rest. But even though your body's in a state of rest physically, your mind is still working. It's because now you've created a bit of space where you can think. Your subconscious mind can now start to work and you start thinking. And just out of nowhere, you just get a random idea, which is not random. It's just in your subconscious. And because you've given yourself space to relax, that subconscious mind has now come into your what? Your prefrontal cortex. And it's now appeared consciously as an idea. Why is that? It's because you're putting time out into to go and rest. Dave, chat to me.
Yeah, I do. Not necessarily just in the shower when I'm scrubbing my back, but yeah, random points, random periods throughout the day, I'd say I probably get like a good idea. And then, but for me, it's just my mind just works at such a fast pace and I don't really pay attention to these thoughts. I'm a little bit ADHD as it comes. So yeah.
Gee. No, Diddy, I'm ADH double D, rude boy. So I exactly understand what you're trying to say, bro. Like when your mind's always racing, you always got stuff to do, you know, it's hard. But them ideas you get at random, bro, you should really write them down. Because I know I understand myself, yeah? You know, on WhatsApp, on my personal WhatsApp, on my phone, you know, I've got a group chat with just myself in it. It's literally just called Ty Belly, and it's just a picture of me. Every single time I'm doing something, or I'm on a run, or I'm on a walk, and I get an idea, and I don't have my notebook, because I'm not carrying it with me, like to go to a restaurant with my girl, I get an idea, I just send that idea to myself on WhatsApp. I just send that random thought I get, I just send it to myself. And then before bed, I'll just look at the group chat and be like, oh, this random brother sent in a really good thought today. And it was me at 3 p.m. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, you need to capture those ideas, bro. Because I guarantee there's money behind these ideas that you get. Even if it's ideas like maybe you got an idea that comes through like, oh, what if I went gym first thing in the morning rather than second thing? Or what if before, even if it's not consciously money related, as a byproduct of you implementing an idea that you've got, I guarantee as a byproduct of that, you probably make more money and improve your life.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Love it. Rashid, talk to me, man.
My thing's linked to what you were saying about rest before. I remember seeing somewhere, someone said you should be working as a lion and not as a gazelle. So what that basically means is instead of having like long periods of time, let's say 12 hours where you're working, where you're probably not going to be doing the most productive things, you're going to be just doing tasks and not at your top level. You should spend most of your time resting and then have like intense work periods where you really perform to your highest level, and then you go back to resting. Apparently, that second version will actually get you doing more than just working 10 hours aimlessly.
100%. Nathan, jump.
I just wanted to say I agree with what you were saying, Rashid, and this whole topic in general. That's why I decided to join the call back, because I was like, look, I'm going to be dialing for like maybe 12 hours today, even longer, a long time. And I thought, what's half an hour to just like chill, listen to some ideas, get some input, and allow some time for my ideas to prosper instead of just like going straight at it for 12 hours. Another half an hour is not going to make too much difference. Let me just give myself some time to breathe. So I agree with everything that was just said, basically.
Love it. David, your hand still up, or was that from before?
Nah, that's from before. I don't know how to take that off.
No worries, bro. No worries. You're good. Wicked boys. Good ideas, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really do love it. Yeah, all of you are right. You're not wrong. When you don't recover or rest, your nervous system enters a permanent state of threat. You become irritable. Like I said, you lose creative intuition, right? And that is exactly what leads to burnout. How many of you have experienced burnout? I used to experience this a lot. You know, my whole life, my mum and family has always said to me, take a day off, take a day off. And I'm like, nah, I want to be a millionaire. I must work, and just overly exert myself. But it's just silly. Like Rashid said, lion and a gazelle, you have certain hours where you go and hunt. After this call, Nathan's going to go hunt. He's going to be actively dialing, putting in calls, getting the work, right? Getting the work done. But then after that, it's now time to be a gazelle and relax a little bit, right? Take a chill pill, go and recuperate, right? Go and actually relax and reflect on the day to allow yourself to get new ideas to help you go for the next hunt. Does that make sense? Rest is not escape. That's what I used to think. The old Ty Belly, the old paradigm used to think that rest is escape. Our bro's not about it. He needs 8 hours. I'm only taking 6 hours to sleep. That's how I used to think. It was just so silly. Yeah. Rest is integration. After you exert force, the universe must restabilize to your new equilibrium. Yin and yang, black and white, noughts and ones is simple. Without stillness, your action is going to lose purpose. So if Ruth is waking up every day thinking about, oh, I need to do, when's the time to think? When's the time to reflect? When's the time to actually aim before you shoot, right? Cognitive science shows that recovery consolidates learning. Do you understand that? So cool. Let's put this in a practical example. All of you are here taking notes of this session. You're learning new stuff of what I'm revealing to you, right? After today, maybe tonight before bed, when you've done your work block, right, and you're just reflecting, you go for a walk, you journal, then you're going to be then you're going to be able to actually consolidate the stuff that you've learned from this session right now, and you'll be able to soak it in, right? And then you're going to get some new ideas from this session alone that can literally change your whole life and make you more money tomorrow, the days after, right? Rest turns struggle into skill. I love it. Cool. This is my favorite subtopic, testosterone. Yeah. If you avoid conflict externally, you do realize that you're still going to create conflict, but it's only just going to be internal. Modern comfort culture, all this low sissy boy shit, right, teaches people that avoidance and being passive is the way, is the norm. But no, it's not the norm. It's the norm for women, right? Suppressed conflict becomes depression because it's energy that gets turned inward. Do you realize that? If I ask all of you right now, why is it, right? What is the real reason why for the longest time you haven't been able to get to where you want to be? Hey, why is it for the last 6 months you've been struggling to increase your income, or the same with you as you, Rashid, or Dave, for example, whatever, or John, for example, you've been bouncing around, you know, maybe 3 to 7K, you're not yet to bump that 10 through your business specifically. Yeah. Ego aside, it's probably because of low testosterone. I'm just being honest. As I always say, I don't care how any of you feel. I'm telling you what you need to hear because I don't care to stroke none of your ego, right? I don't care, right? It's because of low testosterone. Not in the sense where you got to be Billy Big Bollocks and trying to, you know what I mean, just be overly aggressive, but having high testosterone will literally be the energy fuel that never runs out that you're going to use to go and put in that deep work session. Let me give you an example. Nathan, because he just came off here a couple of minutes ago, after this call, he's going to go and get dialing. But Nathan, who has low testosterone, is going to get one objection or get 2 rejections, and he's just going to blame the world, blame someone else other than himself, blame the offer, and probably just allow that 1 minute of an objection to ruin the rest of his day. But higher testosterone Nathan is going to be like, cool. He didn't even go into his hours dialing and thinking, how many closes can I get? How many bookings can I get? He goes into the day thinking, I wonder how many rejections I can get today. Because I know that on average, it takes me 15 rejections to get 1 call booked in. So if I can just get 14 rejections, I've made some money. It's as simple as that. When you have higher testosterone, you just have seemingly more energy to go after the life that you want. Do you know what I mean? Modern comfort culture teaches avoidance and being passive, right? Let me give you a perfect example. All these months that Rashid's had to go and learn how to make an online income, but he hasn't done it. Why? Because he's been passive with his own life. Literally, he's been passive and just floating through the wind. Oh, yeah, I might go uni and oh, this might happen and part-time working at Tesco. Do you know what I mean? You're just being passive about your own life, bro. But until you actually sit there and think, bro, I'm not happy and I don't want to stay. I don't feel content or happy living like this. Then you're going to take matters into your own hands, right? And then you're going to go and get the job done. You cannot make money online. Hey, you're not going to make money online or move abroad or change your life whilst avoiding confrontation. And I guarantee that every single one of you, to a certain extent, some more than others, the reason you haven't got to where you want to thus far in your life is because you've been avoiding some form of confrontation. Maybe it's from your girlfriend that you're not really sexually attracted to anymore, but you're just too much of a pussy to go and tell her that it's done and it's locked off. Maybe it's a friendship group that you have. Maybe it's your parents. Your parents are forcing their agenda onto you. And because you want to just be a good son and traditional and go along with the ideas that your mum had when she was in school in the fucking 70s, now you're too scared to go and actually handle that objection and disagree and confront her because you want control over your life because you're a young man, you're meant to be an adult. Do you know what I'm saying? The life you want to live, I'm telling you boys now, it's behind, brief confrontation. Confrontation is not a bad thing. Confrontation is real. Confrontation is realness. I'm not even talking physically. I'm not saying that AO should go to Pure Gym and if someone's using a bloody shoulder press machine, he just goes and fucking headbutts them. Obviously, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that when are you going to get to a point where you're going to go and confront the thing stopping you from getting towards the life that you dream of? It's really that real. Let's look at it from a metaphysical perspective. Conflict is purification. Wow. When vibrations rises, lower frequencies resist. Let me even just stop there. How many of you boys, question, you ain't even got to come off mute, just think. How many of you boys have tried to improve your life? You've joined this program. Hey, you've been here for a week and a half, whatever, You're now trying to raise your frequency. You're now trying to think like the version of yourself making $8,000 a month. You're now trying to do and live like that. But for some reason, the old frequency just seems to pull you back down. You can't understand why. It's like what Dave said. Dave just starts locking in. He got himself onto an offer quick, got let go of the offer. That's the old frequency because the universe is testing you to see how you're going to respond, how you're going to react. How many of you have tried to get on a better track for your life, but something somehow just seems to just keep pulling you fucking down? You don't even know what to do. Every conflict, right? That's friction right there. Every conflict is your higher self demanding coherence and congruence. I always speak about this in my story, being congruent with the person that you want to become, right? Who am I picking on? Who haven't I heard from? Reese, get the pen out of the mouth, bruv. What is social cognitive dissonance? What do you have a stab? What do you think it is? Social cognitive dissonance. What is that in your opinion?
So maybe you feel uncomfortable talking to someone new and you just kind of need to go out there and do it.
So social cognitive dissonance in your eyes is when you have something in life that you need to go and do, but you've been avoiding it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, you're too scared to talk to that new person that you've never met, stuff like that.
I love it. We're actually getting it. That's close. Who else is gonna have a stab? Come off with me.
Go and go, Rishi.
I was gonna say, is it kind of thinking differently to other people, acting a bit differently? Because when I'm putting the words together and I'm saying dissonance, social cognitive, is it kind of other people have this one way of thinking, like let's say the norm, and then having social cognitive dissonance would be thinking against the norm or not like the norm?
Ooh, close also. Your reasoning is correct, but the way like you described it is wrong. But we're getting close. Nathan, you jump in and I'm gonna just go.
I'd say it's like, because cognitive dissonance is where your actions are not aligned with your thoughts, if I'm not mistaken. So social cognitive dissonance is where you think certain things about being social, but your actions are not aligned with that of which you think. That's what I'd
Wow.
say.
Now this boy is
Come on,
Check
bro.
it out, man. Come on, bro. Social cognitive dissonance, right, is discomfort which arises when your actions and your beliefs misalign. Most people resolve it by lowering their standards, but leaders resolve it by raising their behaviors. Let me give you an example of social cognitive dissonance. Dave and his boys are getting ready to go to a party, right? Dave's talking in the house with the boys. Man, them, when I go out today, Anything that I see, I'm talking to her. Any girl that I see, I'm on it, bro. Whatever. Now he pulls up to the party. He's in the queue. He sees four girls that he likes, right? And the boys are saying, "Yeah, go on, then, Dave. Here's a shot. Go on, then, Rooney. Score." You know what I mean? And Dave doesn't do shit. He stands there, dick in his hand, doesn't go and talk to any of them. That feeling that he gets because his action is not aligned with his behaviors or his efforts, what he said he's going to do. That there is social cognitive dissonance. Does that make sense? Social cognitive dissonance can be used in a positive way and a negative way. If Rashid says to you boys now on this call, if I say to Rashid in 5 minutes, bro, what is your goal by the end of the week? And he says, yeah, I'm applying to roles every day. I'm going to get onto a role by the end of the week. And by next week, Monday, he's come on the call and he's not got a role. He's going to feel some social cognitive dissonance. Does that make sense? You're going to feel like, the person I said that I am is not really who I am. How many of you say, that's why I always put all of you boys on the spot. And I say to you, what are you going to get done by next week? And I let everyone else listen to it. Because now that Ayo's come onto the call and he says that he wants to achieve this thing, he doesn't want the feeling. He's trying to avoid the feeling of pain by next week coming on to the call and not actually actualizing or doing the thing that he said. He's going to feel embarrassed. He's going to feel it. That's social cognitive dissonance. Does that make sense? So you should think about how you can use that to your advantage. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations to force you to not experience the feeling of social cognitive dissonance. Does that make sense? So when I said to John, and I'm picking on John again, John said to me in the support ticket, I ain't trying to air out your dirty laundry, bro, but he said that he's going to have his biggest month and he's going to make more money than yeah? If by the end of this month he doesn't, he's going to feel the type of way. Cool, he might not have said it to you boys, but he said it to me. And John knows me well enough to know that I'm going to hold him to that shit and be like, bro, you said this shit. Matter of fact, when we do have a one-to-one, John, I'm going to pull up the fabric from 2 calls ago, which you don't remember you said something and you haven't done it. I'll talk to you about that after the call. That's going to be social cognitive dissonance when I draw on things that you boys say that you're going to do, and you don't do it, and you're going to get that feeling, fuck, I'm not a man of my word. You're going to feel social cognitive dissonance. That's exactly what it is. Cool. Here's just a little example. None of you smoke. We don't do that. I'm a smoker. Imagine being someone who says that, smoking causes cancer, and then you're the same person rolling up some fucking Stardog, bro. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Quickly buying a 3-5 week. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So let me ask you this question. This is for Saki to have a little think about, yeah? Who do you need to disappoint in your life in order to stay true to yourself? Because you probably got friends that are trying to pull you this way. You've got people trying to pull you in different routes in life that you're not trying to go down. Who the hell do you need to disappoint in order for you to stay true and aligned with the person and version of yourself that you want to become? I'll leave that one there. Before we wrap up, boys, deeper ones. What does real recovery look like for Nathan? Like actually though, physically, mentally, and spiritually? Because I've spoke about a lot of different things, right? Let's have a little reflection. I spoke about how rest is work, right? I spoke about how discipline is being aggressive, while being a pleasant person is just pussy, right? And I also spoke about what rest actually means. But like, what does real recovery look like for you, Nathan? You're here, you said 20 minutes ago, yeah, I'm going to put in all these hours, dial in. What are you going to do after that? How are you going to rest and recover? Don't have to answer, think about it. Yeah, Ed ain't here today. So John, is John resting from his purpose or is he resting for his purpose? AKA, John's goal is to get to 10K by the end of the month. So when he says to himself he's going to close the laptop and not respond to his clients, is he doing that by force or by choice? Is he doing that from a state of fuck's sake, I need to escape? Or is he doing it from a state of, I know I need to make more money, so let me actually do nothing. Let me rest. Let me actually just reflect, take an hour out and just think, right? How can Reese to his week this week? So when he rests, it becomes a form of strategy and not escape. So Dave isn't getting all these ideas. Oh, I'm going to take over the world. And then just forgets about it 2 hours later because he's blaming it on his ADHD, whatever that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I want you to really reflect based on what we spoke about in this call. Hey, jump off with me. How was the session for you, sir?
Yeah, it was really good. It made me think about a lot of things I hadn't thought about before. And I as I was saying before, that this is something that I've been trying to work on as well. The whole discipline and self-control and resisting my impulses. So it literally came at the perfect time.
Cool. So today's Wednesday. That's great. Lovely. Appreciate it, bro. By Sunday, let's set ourselves, you set yourself a goal. What is something that you struggle to do discipline-wise? Is it fitness? Is it something else?
Say that again?
Set yourself a goal this week that you want to achieve by Sunday. What is something that you struggle with discipline-wise? Is it fitness or is it something else?
Going to the gym every other day as I plan to do at the beginning of this week.
So far this week, have you stuck to that?
Yeah.
Cool. So the gym every other day, that's 2 times before Sunday, bro. Why don't we push ourselves and say we want to go to the gym 3 times before the end of the week? Because really it's Wednesday today. You've already been today, so that means Friday and Sunday is 2. So let's do 3.
Cool.
Calm. So you're saying you're gonna go gym 3 times and post it in the chat before Sunday?
Yeah.
Nathan, you heard that, yeah? Let's make sure he gets it done.
Yeah,
Saki, what
that's
about you?
Outside of probably dialing, I'd say I want to get another book finished sometime soon.
When sometime soon, and what book?
Yeah, I've been working at this, but it hasn't been going the best. I can't lie. I haven't read it in a while. I'm on page 62. I think it's like 300 odd pages. So I guess next 2 weeks.
So you want to get how many pages done by 2 weeks?
300. That's not crazy.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking. 300 pages, 2 weeks, calm. Rashid, put that in the chat. Put that in general chat, please, in the Discord. Saki, 300 pages of Becoming Supernatural. And 2 weeks from now is 14 plus 5. Ty Valley, where's your math? 19th of November. That's the due date. I love it. John, chat to me.
If you're struggling with that book, bro, just slap it on an audiobook. It makes it 10 times easier. Because I feel like I personally don't like to pick up a book and read it. I'll just, when I'm walking to the bus or driving or in the gym, moving from A to B, you got an audiobook, so you're just taking in all that information. So that might take you, like physically reading the copy, a chapter might take you, I don't know, however long, 30 minutes as an example, right? As just as an example, 30 minutes. You've got that as an audiobook, but I'll take maybe 10. And then, bro, you consume all the info. Like, I read a book a week because of that. What it says, just as an idea, but I don't know if anyone else has. But for me, it works. So if it works for me, it might work for you.
Give it a try.
Love it, bro. We don't try, we do, bro. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, boys, man. 6th session. As I always say, you know exactly what I'm going to say in 3, 2, 1, man. A word to the wise is sufficient. Do you know what I mean? Dave could be here with his jacket on, nodding his head, talking about all this stuff. Yep, good session, Kai. But if you don't do anything, next week you're going to just be going through the exact same bullshit. Reese could have been listening to me the whole fucking hour, munching on his pen. But if you don't do anything after this session, nothing about your life is going to change, bro. And it's only your fault, innit? I don't really care. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah? Love it. Friday session is going to be a Q&A. So everyone from now, start thinking about what questions do I want to ask based on my specific situation. Ayo's situation is different to Saki's, which is different to Reese, which is different to John's. Everyone come on that call prepped with your question. 3 questions minimum specific to your situation so you can get the best help for myself and the rest of the boys. Nathan, jump in with a question and after that we're out.
Just real quick, it's not always easy to notice when you've got cognitive dissonance, not just socially, but anywhere in your life. Do you have any practical applications on how you can recognize it, like questions you could ask yourself or just any practical applications? Because sometimes it's hard to spot.
That's a good question. What I can do is on my private WhatsApp group chat, I have a like a journal that I don't really, because sometimes I find it hard to write down, like spend 10 minutes if you're moving, it's a bit long, do you know what I'm saying? So what I used to have is I had like a daily journal prompts basically, and I just type it to myself and fill it out at the end of the day every day. So for example, my daily journal date, where I'm in the world, location, primary goal I'm working towards, current emotion when I'm writing and filling out the journal. Did I do my morning routine? What is today's win? What drained me today? How did I respond? And did you act today from your lower self or your higher self, and why? And one lesson learned. I'm just going to paste it in the general chat so you can read it. If any of you boys want to use it, I think it would definitely help. That will answer your question, Nathan, about did I act from my higher self or from my lower self today? You can literally just be honest when you reflect on your day and ask yourself. So again, if your higher self, in your example, Nathan, is someone who's making 5K a month online, then today you had an opportunity to make one more dial, but you didn't do it because you CBA, or you had a bad morning, so you just sulked for the day and didn't really put in work. You're clearly acting from your lower self, which as a result will give you that feeling of cognitive dissonance, because you know deep down within yourself, you're not acting from the state of the person that you said you wanted to be. You come on these calls and say you want to do A, B, and C, but your actions are saying different. Only you will know that deep down between yourself, bro. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does, bro. Thank you.
Love it, boys. All right, boys, man. I've had an amazing session. I hope you genuinely was able to take some value from this. Like, I actually really do hope. I put a lot of time into the session. I want you to be able to come away from this learning some stuff that you can apply to your life. And you don't know me. Don't just come and glaze my session. Go away and learn something and apply it to your life. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? Have a great day, boys, man. Until next time.
Thank
boys.
you, bro.
Cool. Sales congruence and the map of consciousness, right? So what the hell am I talking about? What do you mean, Ty, right? All these big buzzwords, speak English. Let's get straight into it, right? Cool. So when I say sales congruence and the map of consciousness, right? What I'm really talking about is this. This right here, what we can see is a map. It's a chart. And rather than it being a chart of some bullshit that doesn't really matter, it's a map basically which goes over the different states of consciousness that people often find themselves in through any point of a sales call or just at any stage in their life, right? Let me give you an example. Before all of you joined this program, you were probably feeling below the kind of middle line, I would say. You was probably feeling a little bit of desire. You desire, how many times before Jake joined the call was he desiring to, you know, leave the country or 5x his income or learn an online skill or not have a fucking boss who tells him how many days of work, holiday leave he has, right? How many times was Rashid, feeling a bit guilty because he's the eldest out of every single one of his siblings, but he still might have to ask his dad for a fucking haircut or for money for a fucking haircut? How many times has, you know, Reese felt a little bit of anxiety when it's coming to the end of the month? You know, one of your family members, or you might have a younger sibling, for example, or a loose family member who you want to go and provide for, buy a present for them. It's around Christmas. But then you check the bank account, you check the Monzo, you check the Starling, you check the Barclays, and the actual numbers in your bank is not really making you feel comfortable. So as a result, you have anxiety about your financial situation. How many times has Dave, for example, right, or even Nathan, not been making the money that you've been wanting to make, but for so long? How many months, how many days, how many years have you been blaming somebody else? Oh, it's my manager's fault. Rashid's like, oh, if only I was born into a rich family. Rashid's probably saying, oh, if only I had 10K to go and get a mentor who could just do all the work for me, I would be rich and I would be making 6 figures. But it doesn't work like that, right? These are all states of consciousness. So I want you, the first point I want all of you to note down, yeah? A state of consciousness, right? This is what I want you to write down. A state of consciousness is the lens through which you live your life. Let me give you an example. Let me even say that again, because that's a fucking bar. A state of consciousness is literally the lens in which you view life. Let me land. What I'm trying to explain by saying that is all of you are on a call with me right now. For me, it's Wednesday, 4 p.m. out here in sunny Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. For Rashid, it's 7:08 p.m. in somewhere in West London. For Nathan, it's probably fucking cold as fuck, snowing up there in Manchester, right? You all are living in different states of consciousness right now. I don't care about how much money Dave's making. I don't care about how many roles Rashid's on. I don't care about the extra days off work that Zach gets, or he's getting double pay because he's working night. I don't give a fuck about none of that. What I'm trying to say is that, do you realize that every single one of you boys right now, today, in this very moment, is all operating on a different frequency and on a different state of consciousness? So when you have your physical reality, and I've mentioned this a few times, right? Rashid's desiring to make 5K a month, right? Dave's desiring to go and move to wherever, Bali, right? Ayo's got a bit of, you know, hate towards his old life, but he's actually craving and desiring that new reality. Now he's on a setting role, but it hasn't manifested yet. He's been on the offer a week. Why isn't he a millionaire? Why hasn't he made 2-3 grand in comms yet? All of you are literally living in just different states of consciousness right now. Do you understand that? I don't care what any of your realities look like, who you've spoken to, what you've done, what fucking brand of clothes you wear right now. All of you simply are just viewing life from the point of the different frequency, vibration, or state of consciousness that you're all vibrating on. It's as simple as that. Don't need to overcomplicate anything, right? So let's look at the core of what I want to talk about, because as I said, this session is going to be sales focused today. Sales is not persuasion. Let me even stop there. Rashid, what is sales, bro?
I think sales is the transfer of value between two people. So obviously in our case, it would be the value we're receiving is the payout or the commission, and the value they're receiving is whatever the offer's helping them to achieve.
Okay, I like that. Jake, what about you? What is sales?
I genuinely think it's you selling who you've become through like an electromagnetic force, and if they feel attracted to that, they will buy in that time. That's my view.
I like that. Anyone else want to give it a crack? Nathan, love the glasses, bro. What sells to you, my good friend? Fucking hell, why are you picking me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I say sales is an exchange in value between two people.
Love it. Love it. Cool. I would say sales is just a transfer of belief from prospect to the actual person who's closing a deal or attempting to sell, right? Nathan right now, I'm just making an assumption. Nathan right now could be in Tesco's car park, right? He just picked up a sirloin steak, weekly food, whatever, whoop-de-do, yeah? Nathan chose to buy one brand instead of another brand because he had a certain level of conviction that was transferred into him when he picked up this real Heinz fucking ketchup compared to M&S fucking ketchup. It's as simple as that. That was the sell, transferring the belief from one to another. If none of you believe that you being inside this network, right, would get you to where you wanted to be, you would not be here. You all have a certain level of belief that myself, the rest of my team at some point when we was on that onboarding call, I'll take accountability. Oh my God, it's Ty Belly's fault. I shifted your belief. You came thinking, online money, is it a scam? Reese, is this going to work? Oh my God. You know what I'm trying to say? I shifted your belief. Here you are. And you think, fucking hell, let me make some money. This guy's turning me into a killer. Fucking hell, what's going on? You know what I'm trying to say? I've shifted your belief, right? That's all it is. Sales is consciousness transference. That's it. Your prospect is not saying no because of money. How many times have you boys been on a role play? Like me and Dave was sparring the other day, quick 3-minute rounds, 12-ounce gloves. Yeah, we were sparring, and I was being a bit of a difficult prospect. And I was saying how $3,000's a lot of money, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. At that point when I was being a difficult prospect, what really was happening was that I was saying no is because Dave allowed me to operate from a lower state of consciousness and stay in a lower state of consciousness. You boys remember when we did, so not all of you, but some of you boys remember on Monday, we literally did role play, right? So Dave, Ayo, Nathan, you was there, right? Saki was there. We did that role play and you lot was like, fucking hell, Ty, you're such a difficult, you're just being a prick today. I was very difficult. I was not budging at all. And that was because I was holding on to a certain belief system, right? And operating from a lower state of consciousness that was neglecting and stopping and blocking you boys from transferring your belief over to me, the prospect. Does that make sense? That's the only reason. There's no, oh, it's too expensive, 4K. That's all bullshit. That's all smoke screens, bro. Yeah, literally. It's literally when you're in Modern Warfare 3, you're on the Nuketown map and someone throws a fucking smoke bomb, comes around and stabs you in the gut. You're dead. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Smoke screen. That's all it is. When somebody tells you anything, oh, Reese might be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, but you know, it's not the perfect smoke screen. It's literally just he's in the wrong state of mind. He's not on the same consciousness, not on the same state of consciousness as me. That's all that it is. Don't have to overcomplicate it. Rashid, what's your role, right? What is your responsibility being in a sales role? Your responsibility being in a sales role is to help your prospects rise to the level where the decision they want to make is actually possible. What do I mean by that? I speak English, 4-syllable words I don't understand. What I'm trying to say, right, is that when Rashid gets on a sales call, or him and Jake today did a role play, I'm going to watch that for dinner today. Yeah, when these lot are doing their role play and they're going over it and Jake's being a bit of a dickhead prospect, not budging at all, that's simply because Rashid's operating from a state of joy, peace, right? Understanding, because he understands in the service he's providing. He's in a state of optimism, right? Because he's optimistic that the thing and package and program or service that he's selling is actually going to help Jake in this scenario and bring about a change. He's got a high level of trust and conviction in the offer that he's selling, because you wouldn't ever be selling on an offer if you didn't even believe in that shit. But Jake in this scenario is a prospect who's operating from a lower state of consciousness. So Jake's feeling a bit of shame. Oh, $2,000 for a program. I feel guilty because my mum makes $2.5 grand. That's her full month salary. What do I look like paying $2,000 on some random dude on Instagram when my cousin only makes £1,600 a month? Guilt, right? Or might feel a bit of anxiety. How many of you felt anxiety when you kind of made your first big investment in yourself? Oh, is it going to work? You feel that lower vibrational energy operating in your gut. That's that anxiety. And you know why? Let me stop right here. Reese, come off of mute quickly, yeah?
Why is it that when people try and make an investment into themselves, they often operate from a lower state of consciousness? So let me just talk plain English. Why is it that when you joined this network, you felt a bit of anxiety? Let's be honest. Chat to me.
Because I didn't really believe in myself that I could actually make it work.
Love that. Very honest. Appreciate that, my bro. Yeah. Reese didn't believe in himself, not even the program. He's thinking, fuck, have I got the huevos, which means that I'm even ready to take on this new challenge? Because if I'm going to go and invest monetary value, I'm going to have to do it. But am I really the person who's ready to go and do it? So even on a deeper level than what Reese said, he said that he didn't really know, or he didn't really know if he was going to make it work. What really happened in that exact scenario is Reese was being held down by an old belief system. That's literally it. Reese is saying to me, oh, I don't know if I'm the person who can make it work, because he believes, his belief system states that these type of things, you know, investing in yourself, putting in the dog work, trench work, taking a risk is not for someone like Reese. Now, that's not all Reese's fault. That's the belief system that Reese has acquired. That's that person's fault, or that thing's fault. Does that make sense? So for all of you, let's tie back onto what Jake said 7.5 minutes ago. Jake said, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now because I've identified and pinpointed what was going wrong in my reality. What was going wrong in my reality was I was trying 7 different fucking things. I'm working a part-time job. I'm starting up in high-ticket sales. I've got my missus. I'm going gym every single day. I'm trying to eat good, trying to track my meals, trying to do this, that, too much, right? But what really happened in this scenario and this realization that Jake's had recently, which has brought him back hungrier than ever, is he's just actually pinpointed that you had one wrong belief system. It wasn't all of these things that he's juggling. Who cares that you go pure gym 5:30 in the morning, 6 days a week, and you're on a deadlift personal best? No one gives a fuck. Who cares that you're working a part-time job and you got a dickhead manager and giving you 6 days off to go to fucking Mallorca? Nobody gives a fuck. What the real issue was is Jake had an old belief system which isn't in line with his desired reality. So the stuff that he believes in his head is contrary to the stuff that he's doing every single day. So that's why there's a bit of despair. It's like your heart's telling you one thing, your mind's telling you another thing. That's literally what's going on. It's all man-made, these problems. Does that make sense? Stay with me. So let's go back to it, right? Your role in sales is to help raise the prospect, right, to a level where the decision that they already want to make becomes possible. Let's go back to the picture. Let's go back. For you to be on a call, Dave, right? You're doing role play because that closing role, it's already out there, G. You do realize that role where you're making 7.5 grand a month, all your boys are on Snapchat asking you how you made it out the hood. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You just booked a one-way ticket to fucking Venezuela or Bali. It's out there, G. It's on its way. Royal Mail, it's on its way. Yeah? My point being, Dave's doing role play for that brand new best closing role he would have ever seen and glared his eyes on. It's coming to him, right? What Dave needs to understand is that in order for Dave to have a high closing rate and cash collect and get piff and, yeah, I've made comms today, did it? No one gives a fuck, right? Because what you're really doing behind the fold is all you're doing is Dave's getting on calls with people who are operating from a lower state of consciousness. And because Dave is a skilled man and he understands human psychology and he's just wrapped it up in a nice package and ribbon and called it high ticket sales, he's literally just turned one prospect who's called Taylor, who joined the call feeling guilty, feeling shameful. What's going on here? Chill out, mate. Feeling guilty, feeling shameful, right? Feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear. And by the end of the call, Dave sold them from a position of trust. Why do you feel fearful when you know that our program is going to work? Have you not seen our results? Dave's selling them from a position of optimism. I know that this is going to change your life. I'm optimistic that if you join this program today, your life will never be the same, and you will never be feeling as bad as you do right now. You will never be feeling like you hate your job so much. You will feel the best that you ever felt before. There's no sales tactic that I'm doing. I'm just operating from a high level of frequency. Do you see that? There's no sales script. There's no fucking framework that beats frequency, boys. I'll tell you that now, right? Imagine Rashid when he gets off of this call and he's hopping on a dial-in triage role play or some shit like that, SDR role, whatever you want to call it, or DM setting role play, whatever. And before he even starts his day, let me give you some note. Rashid just landed his role, set and roll, 4K OTE, whatever. Yeah, Rashid's landed a DM set and roll, and before he even goes into this role, he starts to operate from a state of abundance and acceptance. You know what? I'm gonna go into this role, and whatever happens, whatever the outcome, I accept. If they kick me off the offer after 3 days, I accept. If I end up being the number one closer or number one salesperson and they promote me, I accept. She's operating from such a high level of consciousness or frequency, should I say, that he's just accepted everything that comes, good, bad, or great. Does that make sense? And how can you lose? Because now when Rashid's operating from that standpoint and is going into this DM setting or he's going into that interview from a state of acceptance, he's not going to be operating from a state of abundance, from a state of scarcity, sorry. He's going to be operating from a stage of abundance. Rashid, come on for mute. Does that make sense, what I've covered so far? What's your thoughts?
No, it does make sense. I think that's one of the biggest challenges I have when I'm in sales roles, or as well as acceptance, that you're not going to be able to help everyone, because sometimes I'll be talking to someone and it's like so clear that you need the product, but they're obviously operating from that low level, and then you don't get the close and you kind of beat yourself up over it. When I just need to kind of accept that you can't help everyone. You just need to go and find people that are willing to take the help.
110%, bro. You guys looking crazy, bro. Love that. Facts, you're talking facts, you're talking facts. Cool. Let's move forward, boys, man. Let's go into the map. So, back on this picture. This is when you lot fucking dreaming, yeah? I want you to be thinking of a rainbow flag, no Diddy. This rainbow flag, not the other one, yeah? Because this shit is going to help literally change your fucking life, bro. I promise you that, yeah? This map shows human states from the lowest to the highest form of energetic awareness. So whenever you go about your day, when Jake after this goes to the fucking gym and he's deadlifting, pushing PB and shit, you need to be thinking rainbow colors, G. The right one, not the wrong one. Yeah? You need to be thinking in your head, bro, what state of frequency or consciousness am I operating from right now? When you go and send off that loom and you're applying to that role, 6K per month closer, OTE, whatever, yeah? What state of consciousness are you operating from when you go and do that? Because if Reese is there in his dark ass bedroom, sending off loom videos left, right, and center, right? But he's doing it from a state of anxiety. Oh, I don't think I've got enough experience, and oh, what if this doesn't work out? And oh, it's been 13 hours. What? You know, he's not going to get the role. I don't give a fuck how pretty your application is. You're not getting that role, right? This is what I want you to fucking imprint onto your brain. What state of consciousness do you operate on generally? Are you someone who's more anxious? So if you're a more anxious person, you operate from a weak level of consciousness, right? So no wonder if you feel anxious, you feel fearful, you're frightened about changes that could come in your life, right? Cool. Let's keep moving forward, man. I love this shit. I'm coming for questions in a second, boys, man. So let's see who's really been listening and opening up them airwaves. Yeah, why? So why am I even telling you this? Why am I spending time going over this fucking rainbow in this session? Why am I taking up your time doing these things? Great question, Rashid. Great question, Jake, right? The reason is because a cell is simply the external expression of an internal state. Do you know how much of a fucking, wow, excuse my French, do you know how much of a bar that is? A cell is simply the external expression of an internal state. Somebody get a biro out, because listen, yeah, I'll do it one more time. A sale is simply the external expression of an internal state. Ayo, come off of mute quickly, bro. Let's see that shiny forehead. What's your thoughts on what I've just said?
What about it being an external expression of an internal state?
Oh, that's a bar. Where'd you get that from? Yeah, bro.
It's kind of like you're basically, because you said how it's basically a transfer of the state of consciousness. So you're basically trying to get that person that you're speaking to get on the same frequency as you. So you have to do that by expressing what you have within you so that they internalize that themselves.
Love that. But what do you mean by that? Because Zach's here listening to that with one AirPod and thinking, what the fuck does that mean? I don't understand that. What do you mean by that exactly?
I mean, obviously, when you're doing a sale, you're trying to convince. No, you're not trying to convince, but you're trying to get that person to kind of see your point of view and see the way you look at their situation and the way that you look at how you can help them out. So you want them to understand what you are thinking within yourself so that they internalize that and basically go with what you're saying.
Love it. I love someone who listens, G. You're 100% correct, bro. Love it. Good shit. Cool. A cell is simply the external expression of an internal state. And let's even elaborate on this a bit more, man. You can just look at my pretty face. Forget this notion shit. Yeah? What I mean by that, a cell is simply an external expression of an internal state. How many of you desired to actually improve your situation before you join the network?
How many of you hated your current situation before you joined the network? How many of you wanted something new but felt like you was just talking, walking, and fucking kicking a brick wall before you joined the network? It all started with an internal state that you was feeling, and everything you're doing in your life now is the external manifestation of it. Dave, for you, last month or maybe 3 weeks ago, you were saying, yeah, I don't really talk to my friends anymore. You've been feeling like that for a while, and now look at you. You're getting on role plays every single day with these boys, and without even consciously knowing it, you're building friendships. You're building friendships here with like-minded individuals. But that all started, the things you're doing now, these role plays you're doing, you didn't just end up, wake up, shit, shower, shave, and oh, look at me, I'm fucking future pacing Reese. No, it didn't work like that. It first started off as a thought, raw. I want to better my life. I want to push myself. I don't feel fulfilled. I know there's something inside of me which is just demanding more. That was a feeling, bro. Right? The book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, which is written by an author called T. Harv Eker, has a principle called TFAR. Thoughts, feelings, actions, results. All of you boys who have been in the results channel over the last 10 days, you've gotten a result. Why do you get a result? You get a result on the back of doing an action. AO doesn't just pop up in the Wins channel making $400 comms today from just fucking waking up and praying. It just falls on his lap like what, 10, 20 pound notes. And it doesn't work like that, right? He put in the action, which allowed him to make the comms, which is the result. But in order for AO to put in the action, aka locking in the trenches, doing what he's got to do in his high ticket sales role, he first had a feeling. That feeling was, I look around left and right. I'm feeling unfulfilled with my current life. So therefore, I want to take different actions to give me a result which will make me feel different. Does that make sense? Stay with me, boys. So in order for AO to have that feeling, that desire, right? That maybe a bit of shame, that bit of frustration as a feeling, where does that feeling come from? That feeling first started off as a thought. I wonder what my life would look like if I wasn't having to track my, if I wasn't always having to buy the fucking cheapest brand when I go to shop at Aldi. I wonder what my life would be like if I was living in Nigeria, living in Lagos, or living up in Cape Town, and I could just make $3,000 in a week from my phone. That's a thought. So then that ignited a feeling, made him feel a type of way. He can feel that in his gut, which made him take certain actions. Here he is today. And by the end of the week, he's going to be in the Wins channel getting a result. You see how life works. All of that physical things that you're trying to do. Reese might think, yeah, I need to go and get on a roll and just whatever. But it all comes back to your thoughts, which ignite your feelings, which dictate your actions, which leads to the result. I know, boys. I speak fucking English. I'm trying, man. I know this sounds wishy-washy. I understand, but this is life. This is literally life. Every single one of you boys on this call, 15 of you, whatever on this call right now, you're all living different versions of reality. Every single one of you right now is listening to what I'm saying, but you've all got different stuff going on in your mind. You've all had different days. You've all had different feelings. You've all had so many different thoughts. And after this, you're all going to take different action. That's why everyone's going to get a different result. Guarantee it. Rashid might pop up tomorrow. Yeah, I just got myself a role. I'm on 4 DM setting roles or 2 closing roles, whatever. Reese might just do a fucking food shop tomorrow. Who knows? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Everyone's result they're going to get is going to be completely different based off what I've just said on the ladder. Right? Let's get back into it. Cool. Right? People buy when they are in courage and above. People avoid buying when they are below courage. What do you mean by that, Tide, bro? Like, all these, what do you mean by that? Courage. Courage is yellow because it's in the middle, right? Courage is probably one of the first feelings you could say that allows you to operate on a higher state of frequency. Everything above courage, which is over here. Yeah, let's point it out for those of you that are a bit slow. Courage is over here, right? Every single thing above that, you're going to get a prospect to buy from you. You're going to get someone to shift their belief and to follow the belief that Rashid has given me, Jake has given me, Reese has given me, Nathan's given me. Does that understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Every single thing below here, no one ain't buying shit, right? Why is it that when you was probably at your lowest point in your life, boys, and you was making the least amount of money, why is it that you didn't go and spend money on a brand swanking new gym? Why didn't you sign up to David Lloyd's when you had no money? Probably because you felt a bit of guilt and a bit of shame. You know what I'm trying to say? Why is it that, up until this point, you've been wanting to make money online, but you never really did anything? Probably because of humiliation. If I said to you all 6 months ago before you was here for the most part, I dare you to go on a TikTok live for 1 hour. I dare you to go and do 10 outbound looms applying for roles. And I dare you to go and do 12 different role plays and post content. You wouldn't do that. Why? It's because you probably felt humiliated, right? Probably because you felt a bit of regret. Probably because you probably felt a bit guilty. Probably because you probably felt a bit frightened and scared. Do you see what I'm trying to say? This is just a visual representation of why so many people in life are unable to act based on their thoughts and their feelings that they have. So let's bring this back into the sales world, right? Ayo's on a DM setting role, right? By the end of this month, Ayo's going to make 2K GBP minimum, right? Let's fucking do it. In order for Ayo to do that, he needs to book calls in with people who are operating from a state of pride, courage, and above. These people who you're sending the links to that are looking to go and book in calls, if they're feeling, a lot of pain, if they're feeling, I'm not saying it's bad to feel pain, but if they don't believe in themselves, if they feel so humiliated, they're never going to want to go and take action, right? Obviously, it's a bit more difficult to do in a DM setting role because it's all going to be, text, not going to be like voice note because it's not Ayo on the account, but you get the general point I'm trying to say. If Nathan's going to be on a dialing role or on a closing role, for that person to go and pick and pay and fall, where do they need to be operating from? It's not going to be from a state of shame. It's not going to be from a state of regret. Who buys from a place of regret? No one, because they're going to buy and then they're going to try and back out of it a day later. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So as salesmen, as people who are in this online space, aka, I don't like all these titles. You just all people just want to make fucking money and live your own life independently. That's literally simple as that. Yeah. All of you individually think in colors, bro. This person I'm talking to right now, are they orange? Yeah, they're giving me a bit of anxious vibes. He's an orange flag kind of guy. Compared to Nathan's gonna go and do his dials, 350 a day. I see you in the chat, my boy. Keep going. Yeah, Nathan's gonna be making his dials, and he's gonna go and book in a call or get someone booked in for a sales call, and he knows he's gonna close that, or that deal's gonna get closed because that person was operating from a state of optimism. Yeah, Nathan, I'm actually really looking forward to making this work. Please let me know that I've got the email. Please make sure that I'm actually gonna be there on the call. I really hope that I'm gonna be able to make it. The operate from a state of optimism. Oh yeah, Nathan, I really trust what you're saying to me. You seem like a trustworthy guy. I really want to give this a shot because I want to change my life. That person's a fucking walk in the park at easy close. Does that make sense? Think in colors, boys. Cool. Your role in sales is to help them rise to the level where the decision they already want to make becomes possible. I just had to say that again. Yeah? Let's pause here. Jake, good to see you, my friend. Ask me a question based on what we covered so far. What's your thoughts, man? If I'm talking shit, do let me know.
Ask you a question.
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. Why does it take so long to get in? Because what you said before is actually fucking true, and I'm quite taken back by what you actually just said. So the belief system, why does that take so frigging long to actually get into that? Because now I'm in it. Before, I clearly wasn't. Otherwise, I won't be this hungry. But yeah, why does it take so long for an individual, in your opinion, to get into that higher state of mind?
That's a great question. The main reason why so many people aren't able to change their reality, as we all know, is all comes down to your beliefs. Yeah? 1 second. The main reason why people aren't able to change their reality is all comes down to their beliefs. But to answer your question, Jake, it takes so long is because people are fighting the opposite way around. So many of you think that you have beliefs, but beliefs have you. Genuinely, I want you to write this down and really intrinsically understand what I'm saying. So many of you think that you hold these certain beliefs. Oh, Rashid believes in this. No, Rashid doesn't believe. This belief has Rashid. What I mean by that is these beliefs attach themselves onto you from prior programming, prior people around you, social groups, your environment, what you're exposed to. So those beliefs have now just clung straight to you, Jake, and taken over your mind. Does that make sense? So the reason why you were struggling to get out of that state, and we all go through it, bro. I'm not fucking saying I go through it as well, bro. The reason why you was struggling for so long is because you're fighting it the other way around, bro. You're thinking, oh, I need to change my beliefs, but you first underestimated the power of beliefs. Because if you really understood how powerful your beliefs are, you would have really realized, fucking hell, this belief has me. Where did I get this belief from? Who instilled this? And why did I allow myself to accept this belief? Do you know what I'm saying? I know it sounds silly. What do you mean your beliefs have you? But it's true. You don't, none of us here, we don't hold any beliefs.
We think, oh, I'm Rashid and I chose this, but no, you didn't. You got programmed by something, by someone, somehow into believing in a certain thing. And now it's your job to identify all of those beliefs and ask yourself, do these beliefs I hold align with the future self that I want to reach in my desired reality? Does that answer your question, Jake?
100% bang on that.
Love it, bro. That's what I want you to take away from this session, yeah? You do not hold beliefs. Beliefs hold you. I just hope that for all of you boys, it's only positive beliefs that are going to help you get to where you want to be. You're allowing to take control and have hold over you. Right? Let me share my screen. Let's get back into it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Good question. I'm coming to 2 more of you boys in about 4 minutes. Yeah? Great question to start us off, though, Jake. Serious. Cool. People avoid buy-in when they are below courage, as I mentioned before. Low states of consciousness and low states of frequency create excuses, overthinking, delay, fear of risk, fear of responsibility. Do I even need to go through the rest? Because I know all of you are sitting there nodding your head thinking, fucking hell, this was me. I remember being fearful. All these years I've been making excuses. I always used to evade taking ownership over my life and da-da-da-da-da. Right? In a bit, Nathan. Yeah? All of these lower states are the reasons that you have not yet achieved your desired result. It's as simple as that. I know it's redundant. I keep coming back to this photo, but it's just better to visualize things. Like, you do realize that all of these lower level feelings, right, is the reason why you, Reese, haven't got to your goal yet, right? Or haven't made a start up until this point. Your goal as a human being, right, and your goal as someone who's selling a program or working as a closer, whatever it could be, is to shift the prospect from force to power, fear into clarity, force, power. Why do you think it says force here? Because like I said, these are the beliefs that you've allowed to take force over you and take charge over you. These beliefs, all of these ones over here below this black line, right, are the ones that have just taken control of you, right? These states of consciousness, I've forced Rashid's hand. I'm forcing this belief onto him and not allowing him to go and change and choose which ones he wants to go and believe in himself and be in a state of power, right? Let's keep going. Shame. All of these low-level states of consciousness that we went over, right? Shame. I'm not the type of person who can do this. How many times have you boys thought, you don't even need to say it, how many times have you boys thought the following things that I'm about to say? Shame. I'm not the type of person who can do this. What I want you to do is just put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to start reading stuff out, lower states of consciousness, and be honest, yeah? If you've ever experienced or thought like this, just drop a 1 in the chat. Yeah? Shame. I am not the type of person who can do this. How many times have you thought about going to do something, but you thought, fuck, nah, that's not really for me. Taking a risk, doing this thing's not really for me. Right? Or guilt. I should be doing more, but I'm not. How many times have you boys sat there and think, rah, I feel like I should be doing more. I know that I should be doing more, but for some reason, I'm just not doing it. Right? Grief. How many times, Zach, how many times have you, the rest of the boys, thought, I've wasted years. I've missed my opportunity. Is this all that life has to offer? Right? You've lived or operated from a state of grief. And then there's fear. I'll drop 50 ones in the chat for fear. Because I've experienced that myself and I still do. Right? But you have to be perspicacious enough and aware enough to understand these things as and when they come into your mind. How many of you have thought, what if I fail? What if I go abroad and go broke? Zach probably thought to himself, what if I join this program and it doesn't work out? He literally said 20 minutes ago, he thought the exact same shit. What if I lose what I have? Oh my God, the S&P, the stock market. What if I lose? Do you know what I'm saying? Desire. How many of you thought to yourself, I want freedom. I have a desire for a better life, but I don't know what the fuck to do to get there. That was me 2.5 years ago when I was living in the UK, right? Mum's doing my laundry. I'm pissed off at her for helping me because I thought, bro, I'm like grateful, but I'm not a kid. I want to be independent. I look at my bank account. I can't even afford to be independent. I want this freedom. I want to have my own house. I want to go and do this. And it's actually funny I brought this up because literally today, I just moved into a penthouse apartment, high rise out here in Brazil, right? And it's just funny how when you put in the work and you actually believe in yourself and stop operating from these lower states of consciousness, your life is going to change. I wonder why. Do you know what I mean? Anger. I hate my job. I hate my environment. How many of you hate your reality right now? Be honest. How many of you wake up every single day? Fuck's sake. I know that alarm sounds like I've got 42 minutes to eat shit, shower, shave, and commute to fucking work. Do you know what I'm saying? And then there's pride. I do not need help. Pride is the biggest killer for men. Biggest killer for men. Because pride and ego, these are silent killers, because you lot think that your pride and your ego is actually here to help you, but it's really not. It's really not. And that's the hardest, even myself, that's the hardest pill that I had to swallow, is to understand that my ego is not my helper. My ego is my hindrance. How many of you thought, how old are we? Early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, what, early 30s? Who gives a fuck? Yeah? How many of you thought to yourself, oh my days, I can do this on my own. I don't need a fucking course. I don't need a program, whatever. I don't need no one. I don't need no accountability. 1 year goes by. What do you get in that 1 year? What, a little promotion from your job, and you're making what, an extra £250 a month? Do you know what I'm saying? 2, 3, 4 years goes by, still living at mum's. 5 years goes by, got a beard, stuck to Pure Gym, still doing the same shit. Your life don't really change. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's because of the cause and the death of your ego. That has killed your dreams and killed your progression, really and truly. Dave, chat to me, man. What's your thoughts based on what we're going over so far?
Yeah, I have to relate to you on that one, man. Pride's my biggest one, and my ego. It's helped me a lot back in life, and I'm still struggling with it now. And even when I read books that make me self-aware about my ego, it's gonna take fucking years to overcome, bro. It's gonna take a lifetime for me, I reckon. I don't know about it. So, you know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. There's 5 different levels of awareness, as we all know, right? There's 5 different levels of awareness. But Dave, one thing I would say to you, be hard on yourself, but also understand that you've now upped one level of awareness because you're problem aware. So the next thing you need to do is you already are solution aware, to be honest with you, but you just need to solve the actual problem. But just take a minute to just be real. Yeah, you have a fucking ego. All of these boys have an ego. I just didn't pick on them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But the fact that you can say that openly and admit it, bro, you're ahead of millions of men. You're ahead of millions of people. Do you understand that? So never beat ourselves up and get in a lower state of consciousness based on the remaining work and progression we need to do, because at least we know what path we're going on. Does that make sense? And because you're aware of it, now you know how to tame it, or you know how to solve your own problem. Does that make sense? So I'll just add that in there. But thank you for sharing that, bro. I respect that. I respect you more for you being honest and saying that, G, for real. Cool. There's a lot more, but I'm not going to go over it because so many ones in the chat, we all feel all of these things every single day. It's just real life. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Cool. So let's move forward, man. Raise, right? Step 1, a prospect comes to you and is operating from a fearful position. How many of you have done role plays and the prospect is just a dickhead, or the prospect is being very fearful, right? What do you do? So again, let's break this down. What do I really mean? On Monday, we had sales role play. Me and Dave had a little sparring session, put on the 14-ounce gloves. He jab cross hooked me, I blocked it, give him an elbow and a jab as well, right? When we was doing our role play, I was being a very difficult prospect, right? And Dave at the time didn't really know how to handle that, because what he was trying to do, he was trying to win or trying to conquer the prospect at that point in time and trying to infringe his belief and try and force the other prospect to believe because he should. Very harsh, borderline aggressive, I would say, and it didn't end very well. In that scenario, Dave didn't close me as a prospect. When I went against Dave and I kind of showed him a better way to do that, what I really did is I just met him at his level. Let's do some role play now. Who am I picking on? Jake, come with me. We're doing some role play. I am a fitness coach. You are skinny fat. I'm trying to sell you on a 3-minute program. On a £3,000 program. It's a 6-month fitness program. As soon as I say go, we're gonna go for 45 seconds, right? And as soon as we say go, I've already went through the whole of the call. I'm just gonna drop the price, and you're just gonna hit me with a lot of price objections. The main thing I want to do in this example is show you how I would meet someone at their level if someone's operating from a state of fear. Does that make sense, boys? Yeah. Someone please put on, Dave, put on a 1-minute timer, please. We are gonna go.
Can we choose someone else because my phone's out of battery?
Rashid, you're up. Cool. We are going to go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, cool. Yeah, so Jake, for everything that we went through to get access into the program, it's a 6-month program, as I mentioned. It's just going to be a one-time investment of 3,000 GBP. Couple ways that we can break that up if you would like, bro.
If I'm honest, mate, finances are really low. I'm about to move out. Like Christmas is like just around the corner. It's not a good time to invest, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I completely understand that, bro. You know, it's actually quite funny. Before this call, I was actually out doing Christmas shopping with my partner as well, bro. So I understand what you mean about Christmas is coming up. So talk to me. So if not now, when would you actually look to go and do this stuff?
Possibly like a few months into next year.
About February, March, right?
Yeah.
Play. Seeing that you want to go and do this in February or March, bro. Like, how would you feel still kind of just being like skinny, fat, and all those things you told me, bro? I know that you said that you're desperate to change your situation, bro, and I care about you.
Yeah, I'd still be feeling pretty shit about myself up until that point, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Why?
Because I guess it's because I've not taken action and got the help that I've needed, and just carrying on with the same shitty, undisciplined routine.
Yeah, that's deep, man. Cool, we can stop there. Quick. Spitfire, whatever. I probably wouldn't have said I care about you. I probably wouldn't say that in an actual sales call, but for the rest of it, you get my point, right? What I did in that example is I met Jake at his level. I didn't say, yeah, mate, but you need to go forward because, you know what I mean? I didn't do none of that. As soon as he hit me with his objection, I made him feel like it was normal. I made him feel like that's the usual response that I would like to hear. Because now his guard's down a little bit. Why do I do that? It's because if Jake is operating right over here, if Jake is operating from a level of fear, right? Rashid, I'm coming to you in 30 seconds. If Jake is operating from a stage of fear, which is very low over here, the worst thing for me to do, right, is just to try and battle him and try and prove to him that he's wrong and right? What I should first do is try and meet him at a state of consciousness to get his guard down. And I understand why you're fearful, bro. But then still push him using my tone of voice, my language, and the things I'm saying to raise his state of consciousness. Does that make sense? That's literally just a visual representation of what I was doing. I was meeting Jake at his emotional frequency level. Rashid, jump in.
I was gonna say, how do you kind of meet them at their state without not allowing, but kind of reinforcing their bad habits? For example, if Jake was to come in with a sense of fear, how do you kind of like accept and confirm that and meet him there without making him feel like it's okay to be fearful, if you get what I'm trying to say?
You just reframe. So first of all, you just acknowledge, Jake, I completely understand why you're scared, bro. You know, it is an investment. This is a commitment. Your life is going to change. If I was you, I'd be scared as well. Can I just ask you a question? Just based off what you said, Jake.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you was fearful, bro. Wouldn't you be more fearful if 5 months, 6 months, 3.5 months went past and your health was still the same, bro, considering what you said about your diabetes and your poor health levels?
Yeah, that's, to be fair, man, that's a pretty good point.
And I'm just saying that, bro. Like, I completely understand where you're coming from, but I'm just saying, because based off what we spoke about over this call, bro, and your current situation, I do genuinely understand how bad that you want this. So for you to just kind of not want to kind of go forward and commit to becoming the version of yourself that you've wanted to for so long, do you really feel that that's the best thing to do? Like, in regards to where you're at right now in your life?
I mean, now you've kind of twigged my mind a little bit and brought my health into it, and now I'm thinking about that, and yeah, it's really not worth putting it off.
Well, you let me know, bro, because like at the end of the day, it's your life, you know. But you said to me before that you wanted to be fit, be able to go and, you know, do sports day with your kids and, you know, go play in a park with your son. When do you actually want to reach that goal again?
Like ASAP.
So if you want to reach that ASAP, what do you feel like the best thing you would need to do now then to kind of get to that point in the next, say, 3.5, 2 months?
Yeah, you're right, mate. It's biting the bullet and investing.
Perfect example. Sick one, Jake. Appreciate it. But Rashid, you see my point. So I just started off by acknowledging, get his guard down. Whenever you drop an offer, everyone's gonna have their guard up. It's sparring. It's not even sales. It's just sparring, bro. Right? When you go to Muay Thai and you got your gloves on, and someone comes to punch you, what do? You don't just go like this. You got your glove. You got your guard up, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? So expect the same thing. But your job is to acknowledge the guard and work to bring back their guard rather than still trying to throw jabs in. You know what I'm trying to say? So in the sales world, what I would say basically is acknowledge their point, make them feel like it's normal and understand it, and then reframe and tie the reframe to their desired outcome. Jake wants to be in shape.
So I just made him say it and repeat what he's saying because now he's going to believe it more than if I try to sell him on that. He knows where he wants to be. I'm just waving the one in front of his hand, showing the fat kid the chocolate cake again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Rashid?
Yeah, it does. My only thing would be, like, for example, with Jake there, is there a way, for example, when you're, how do I say this? Because you don't want to make him feel like the fear is very valid, because then you're just adding on to his flame, if you get what I'm saying. So how do you still acknowledge him, which you did, but don't take it too far as to which Jake thinks, oh yeah, like Ty gets what I'm saying, I'm right to feel scared.
Yeah, perfect question. I just showed you that. So in a sales setting, what I would do is I just respond to their objection and make them feel like it's normal, right? And show that I understand their position to get them to drop their guard down, and then immediately reframe. So you see, I didn't stay for 5 minutes being like, yeah, bro, I really understand. This makes sense. Maybe we should come back next year. Let's book in a call for 2028, for 5th of April. Didn't say that shit. I just, first response to understand and be on his level. Second response, or second thing that I said, was now trying to go to the reframe to go get him back to where he wants to be. That's exactly what I would do.
Okay.
Sick. Cool, boys. Last thing I would say just before we wrap up, right? The final point. Congruence. This is the word of the fucking year, G. Don't ask me what my favorite word is. It's not, my name's not Ty, it's congruence, bro. It's congruency, I swear that. Yeah. You cannot raise someone's consciousness if yours is low. Do you realize that? You must speak from power and not from force. Right? Power feels grounded, calm, and certain. Force feels needy, rushed, desperate. What I'm really trying to say is, what do these 4 things actually look like for you genuinely? Rashid, do you actually fucking believe in yourself? You don't need to respond. Do you genuinely believe in yourself? Right? Jake, you want to become a closer. You want to be making 5K a month, all this nice whoop-de-woo bullshit, whatever, right? But do you even have a positive self-image? Do you even think that you're the shit? Do you know what I mean? You want to be helping a sales process. So Ayo working as a setter right now. Ayo, you want to help people. You're on a fitness offer, bro. DM setting. You ain't got a 6-pack. Do you know what I'm saying? Or Ayo's left. Well, he ain't got a 6-pack. How congruent are you as an individual? Genuinely. How congruent are you actually? Do you know what I mean? Match the frequency of the offer you're going to be given, and it becomes that much easier. It doesn't become a sale. It becomes just normal conversation backed by ultimate conviction. Does that make sense? It's going to be way easier for Reese to be closing on a 10K per month offer, or not 10K per month offer, on a 10K priced package or offer, for example, if he's already went and invested in himself, which he has, because now he knows the exact feeling that the prospect's going to feel. He's being congruent. Does that make sense? If someone talks about, relocation, but you've never done these things, how congruent are you, bro? Raising someone else's frequency starts with first having to give a helping hand. So therefore, you have to be from the higher point. You have to have already raised yours. If Rashid is trying to help someone close a 4K deal, but he's operating from a stage of anxiety because his bills are coming up and he's not got much comms this month, is he really going to do it? Probably not. Do you know what I'm saying? I love it, boys, man. How was this session, boys? Chat to me.
Fucking unreal, man. You've made me realise a lot.
Love that. Love it. Rashid, what about you?
I think the same. I think looking at sales as more of psychology than sales, it helps a lot when you're in the roles.
Saki, how was dinner?
Delicious, bro.
Was it good?
10 out of 10.
Love it, bro, man. Love it. What do you think of this call?
It was good, man. There was a lot of good takeaways from this. I actually really liked it.
Love it, bro. I love it. But yeah, boys, man, these are the main things I want you to take from today's session, man. Genuinely, right? Sales is just about congruence, and whatever thing you're doing in the online space, it's literally just about shifting beliefs. That's the biggest kind of like thing I've learned in my life, if I'm being honest with you. It's just about shifting beliefs. You're not battling with sales frameworks, none of this bullshit. You're literally just battling with someone's state of consciousness, right? And remember what I said, every single thing that you believe, you don't have beliefs, your beliefs have you. So what beliefs do you actually hold, right? Word to the wise is sufficient. Those of you who take on even one piece of advice I'm giving in a session, your life genuinely will change, I guarantee it. Yeah? See you boys later, man.